check 1 ආයේ. ඉතින් ඊටම වැදගත්. හරියද මේක check 1 2 3 4 1 අවකද 1 1 observing. Okay. How about the YouTube? And then we can start. Check කාදන් හරි. Check. 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 දැන් හරි දැන් බලන්න. Right now you can hear. How about the YouTube live? But you can hear the noise.
Yeah, remove the noise.
Okay. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Hurry. Now is the YouTube live working? Yeah, the YouTube live is working with the noise. Testing 1 2 3. Hey, hadan try it then. Hurry. Now is the YouTube live working? Yeah, nice. Okay, right, students. Then I think we can start. We'll start. There are like small technical issues. You might or might not notice it, right? I think the Zoom is perfect. There's a small issue in the YouTube live. Some of you might hear a noise. Is it audible? Okay. Okay. Right, students. Then I think we. Is it okay? Can a YouTube student just send a text on the chat and confirm how is it? How is the experience? Is it fine or is it not? Because we are supposed to continue for 2.5 hours, or maybe a little bit more than that. So it's better if we all can first check that, spending few minutes. Is everything fine? YouTube එකේ ළමයි? Just confirm a little bit. All right. Okay, I think the Zoom is okay. Can you give the Yeah, okay. I'll inform about everything. Then ඇහෙනව නේද ළමයි? Fine no? Okay, right. Nice. Hi. So we'll start then. Good evening, everybody. It's audible? Yeah, I know it's audible, the YouTube. I'm asking whether the quality is okay, whether you can hear properly. Is it nice? Is it smooth? It's fine, okay. If it is not, it's your responsibility to send a text, right? Because we are observing through the devices we stream. So it's your responsibility to let us know. Hurry. Okay, then we can start. First of all, good evening. And most of you might not know who I am and but you might know what we are doing here and all, but I'll take 3-4 minutes and explain you our plan and who am I and why we are doing this, right? And before that, now I know most of the students here might be comfortable with your own language, which might be Sinhala, but since this is an English medium lesson, English medium class, and some of the students might not be that comfortable with the language, I'll be completely using English. That's the standard we maintain in the English medium classes of ours. If ඔගලන්ට මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් always I can speak Sinhala, right? So you can send that message in Sinhala. That's perfectly fine. හරි කිසිම අවුලක් නැහැ. That's number one, right? That's number one. And number two, so any issue, first things, inform us about any issue, right? That's number one. And then number two is you still have the time. If you know that one of your friend is struggling with these chemistry lessons, the science part especially, we are here to help. So send them the link and share these as much as possible because these are free sessions. The more students join, it's a pleasure for us and it's a good thing for them as well. That's number two. And number three, this is for the students on the YouTube live. Always when we are giving a YouTube live, there's a small delay, right? So that delay won't affect anything on your side, but the stream is going around with a 10-second delay. That's a thing, we can't avoid it. That's a must. Right? So always if you are on the YouTube live, keep in mind that what we are doing is 10 seconds ahead of what you are seeing, right? That's the third thing. Okay. That's the third thing. And online students, the Zoom students can join the YouTube live whenever you want, or else you can be on the Zoom meeting. Even the YouTube live students, we have couple more seats available in the Zoom. The Zoom limit is around 300. Now it's I think 220. So we have few more seats. If you want, you can join it, or else if you prefer the YouTube live, you can be on the YouTube live. And make sure, let's say you miss a certain part, you can join the YouTube live and get it confirmed. Hari? And the most important thing, which is the fourth thing, at any moment we can face technical difficulties. It's your responsibility to let us know because I can't pay attention to all of those. Around 300 students are already in the meetings, so I will have to answer those, I'll have to teach those, I'll have to do the questions, cover theory. We have a lot to do today. So make sure if you have any issue, put it on the chat and we'll attend to those. Hari? It might take some time to, if there's a lag, if there's a noise issue or whatever, it might take some time, but we'll make sure to fix those, right? Okay. Other than that, anything else? The video is lagging. Is it so? Is that the case for everyone? The YouTube link is on the WhatsApp group. Okay. Yeah, it will take few seconds always if we have a connection like that. That's normal. How many hours? Yeah, we'll finish at around 10. Maximum at around. Red. Why is it? What's the issue? We'll start. We'll continue. Hurry. So those are the things you need to make sure you know, you are aware before joining this and continuing the session. And it's around 7:15, right? It's 7:15. We'll continue until maximum 10 p.m. We'll continue. And what we are doing today is, our goal is to cover the chemical calculations part, right? Which is the 7th unit in grade 10 syllabus. And the lesson today will consist of 3 parts, right? The lesson today will consist of 3 parts, which will be, first I'll be explaining the entire theory. We'll have a small revision of all the theory for about 1 hour. For about 1 hour, I'll be explaining all the theory. And then I'll take another 30 minutes to let you know what are the most important parts. Now, of course, you know, when we are preparing for exam, the entire syllabus won't be questioned. There's a set of things which are most frequently questioned. Right? Those things will be framed and revised. So the important parts. That doesn't mean these are not important. You need to have a general idea on what the things are, and you need to have the general concept. And sometimes those things can be questioned as well. Otherwise, no point learning it. Of course, those can be asked. But sometimes knowing these the most will help you. So the important points will be discussed for around 30 minutes. All of these parts will be revised while doing small revision questions. So it's not only reading through the theory or only giving you notes or anything. We'll be preparing a small short note. While preparing the small short note, I'll be giving you small questions just for the understanding. Some might be from the tooth, some might be just random questions, small questions while preparing a small short note. Right? So that will be done for the first 1 hour and 30 minutes. For the first 90 minutes approximately, that will be done. Is it clear? And in case students, if the Zoom meeting or the YouTube is lagging for you, you can switch to the other platform and see whether that's fine. Because that's why we are enabling you 2 options. You have the YouTube live, you have the Zoom meeting. If one is lagging for you, maybe because of your technical issue, you can join the other and check. In case you miss a certain pass, you can go to the YouTube live and go back and check. Right? And there was a few questions asked about whether the recordings are available. We'll consider that. We don't want to give you recordings simply because we don't want you to miss things. Right? If we tell that the recording is available, you think, okay, I can leave now and I'll watch the other part. You might have these experiences. I can go through that part later. So no need to join today. And then you will keep that recording until the very end, and then there won't be what we expect from these seminars gained. So I don't want that. In that case, that might not happen. We'll consider that. Let's say you have a reasonable reason, then we'll consider that. But for the moment, we don't intend to give the recording unless it's very reasonable. So if you have the possibility to join the live sessions, please join. Live me inna balan, because already it's 7:20. We have around 2 hours and 30 minutes. You have around 6 to 7 weeks left for your O level. So if you can't commit that much, I think I don't know. Especially for a free session, right? Right. So going back to the topic, you have the revision for 1 hour, and 1 hour the theory will be revised approximately. Then the important parts will be done for another 1 hour and 30 minutes. And then another 1 hour and 30 minutes we will be spending doing the past paper questions and some model paper questions. Past paper questions and model paper questions. That will include, regarding the past paper questions, all the recent MCQs will be discussed. Regarding model questions, some more questions will be discussed to improve your idea, which we think that can be questioned this time. Some of those questions will be included. But we are not discussing any structured essay questions or essay questions related to calculations. We don't have those kind of questions which are directly related. A වගේම මහන calculations වලින් මහන structured essays නෑ නේ. You should know it right now, right? And 2, on the 20th, which is our final seminar out of the 3 seminars, we will be having a past paper question discussion. In that, we will be discussing all the chemistry related questions. Etana, if there are some structured essay or essay ideas, I'll be doing that. Right? So that's the whole thing. So we will be having 3 seminars. Today, chemical calculations. On the 13th, we'll be discussing the electrochemistry part, and on the 20th, we'll be discussing the past paper questions. So all the chemistry part, because it's not only chemical calculations and electrochemistry, there are a few more parts. Etika will be covered on the 20th. So this is a complete plan related to chemistry. So I'll try my best to give you the most, and it's your responsibility to make sure you get the most. උපරිමය ගන්න එක ඔයාගේ වැඩක්. හරි? So you need to listen, you need to focus, and you need to get the most out of it. And I can see already a lot of questions have been asked related to sessions, related to other things. Please understand, we are working with around 300 to 400 students at the moment. So it's not possible to teach while answering all of those questions. If the issues are related to technical issues, our crew will reply to those as soon as possible, or they will attend to it simply. If it is related to chemistry, at the moment, if you have a question related to chemistry, send a text to this number. Only questions related to chemistry, right? Let's say you don't have the tute with you, or else your Zoom is lagging, you need to join the YouTube live, right? In that case, you can send it, if you don't have the YouTube link, you can send it to this number. Other than that, once we settle and once few parts have been done, ටිකක් කරාට පස්සේ I'll attend your questions. හරි? ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් patiently කරගමු because I can answer your questions even tomorrow, but I need to teach now. හරි? තේරෙනවද? Okay, good. Right, then I think we can start. Physics seminar කරන්නේ නැද්ද? I'll answer those questions later. Yeah, okay. Hari? තාමත් ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද? ලැග් වෙන්නේ නැහැ ලොකුනේ. වෙන මොකකින් හරි දෙයිලා බලන්න ඕන. කනෙක්ෂන් මේකට. වෙන ඩිවයිස් එකකින්. ඔව් මොකකින් හරි. might work. might work සමහර විට වැඩ කරයි. ඔව් කළා බලන්න ඕන. දන්නේ නැහැ කළා බලන්න ඕන. ඉතින් මේක ෆයිබර් ලයින් එක තියෙනවද? නෑ කනෙක්ෂන් මාරු කරලා. ඕකේ හරි. Tute එක WhatsApp channel එකේ තියෙනවා ළමයි. It's as a for the to the WhatsApp channels we can't send the PDFs. So it's in a drive link. ඒ drive link එක ආයෙ දානවද? ඒ drive link එක ආයෙ channel එකට දාන්න. හරි. අන්න එහෙම තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න ටික අපි හැමීට විසඳගමු. Okay, then officially we are starting theory. Now, if you have the tute printed, good. If not, still it's fine. If you have the textbooks, you can have it with you. And now focus for another 2 hours and 30 minutes roughly. We are going to learn this unit. And I'll guarantee you, no matter what level you are, I'll make sure that you understand everything. And if you have concerns, even after the session, I'll answer those questions. And in between also, I'll try my best to answer the sessions. හෙට උනත් කමක් නැහැ. අර number එකට send text and I'll personally reply to those. Sorry. Now, how many students are we teaching at the moment? Zoom එකේ ඉන්නවා around 230, YouTube එකේ ඉන්නවා around 100. So we are roughly teaching about 350 students. ගෙමක් ගමු කට්ටියම, right? Okay. Hari. Then shall we write the topic? What's the topic? The topic might be something else in your textbook, but we commonly use the term chemical calculations, right? We commonly use the term chemical calculation. This is mostly related to unit 7 in your grade 10 textbook. But there are a few more things like stoichiometry, balancing equations, very small things which are from other units which will be revised as well. But mainly we will be focusing on the concept of mole, how to quantify those things and how to do questions. But when we are doing questions, you would realize there are things like stoichiometry, balancing equations, those things will be done slowly. Hari? Okay. Chemical calculations. Harida, are we ready to start? Are you ready? Harida, වැඩේ දින්න ළමයි. No issues. ප්‍රශ්න නැහැ නේ. හරි. Right. Good. Hari. Then first of all, what's the first hour? It's about revising. We are going to revise all the things and prepare a small short note. It might not include everything, but the generally basics. And then in the next 30 minutes, we'll revise the most important parts. Hari, there are 4 main things. අපිට ඉගෙන ගන්න තියෙනවා දේවල් 4ක් mainly when we are discussing about the chemical calculation unit. Now, mainly I am focusing about this unit 7. Hari, මුලින් ඒක ගැන ඒක ඉවර කරගෙන. There are 4 things you need to learn. The first thing is what? Atomic mass unit. The first thing is atomic mass unit. Or else AMU. Don't write anything, please listen. I'll give you time to write. That's a very common mistake students do. They write when I'm teaching. Then we have relative atomic mass. Relative atomic mass. Or else we call it AR. Why AR? A for atomic, R for relative. Mass is just a general term. Hari? Similarly, write the relative atomic mass. What comes after atoms? Now you should answer. No need to send it. If you want, you can text through the Zoom chat, up to you. But when I say answer the question, it's a rhetorical question. I don't expect you to send the answer, but think. What comes after atoms? A collection of atoms are known as molecules. Good. Then you have the relative molecular mass. Relative molecular mass. MR. Relative molecular mass. MR. Right? Okay. Finally, what do we have? We have something connected to this relative molecular mass known as molar mass. Now in your textbook, this is somewhere very far away from the place they are teaching relative molecular mass. That might be a reason you are finding a little bit tricky, but I'll teach you the relationship between these two, which is very easy. Right, after finishing this, the word most of the students fear in this unit, mole. Most of you don't like this word, I don't know why. Maybe you haven't learned it properly. Mole plus Avogadro constant. Mole plus Avogadro constant. So these are the main things we are supposed to know. We are supposed to understand. Right? The main things we are supposed to know and understand. Avogadro constant and mole. Right. So these are the things we are supposed to learn now. If you want, you may write down this. If not, it's up to you. Sorry. Okay. I'll give you around 1 minute. If you want, you can write down these, up to you. These are the things we are learning in the first hour. We are revising all of these. Okay. You have a few more minutes left. And Anil, alright. Meeting capacity is almost full. Shape. Okay. Right, I think now all the technical issues and all are settled. Hurry. Right. The atomic mass unit, relative atomic mass, relative molecular mass, which is nearly the same with a small difference, these two, and then we learn a relationship between the relative molecular mass and the molar mass, relative molecular mass and the molar mass, and then you have mole plus Avogadro constant. Hurry. Right, now when are we supposed to finish this? Around 8:15, we are supposed to finish all of these. Around 8:15. Always when you are doing something, have a plan. That is what I am doing. Have backup plans. Now there are a few technical issues solved. Always issues can come, but you need to have plans. Now we should finish this at 8:15. Hurry. Okay, then atomic mass unit number 1. Now keep in mind, now I'm just saying that doesn't mean you shouldn't focus on these, but for a student who has no idea about this, who doesn't know what atomic mass, or else you just have written something which was taught in your school or maybe in your class, you have no clue, you don't understand what that means. In the first hour, don't try to understand everything perfectly. Just have a brief idea. අර අපි කියන්නේ ක්ලික් වුණා කියලා අර ෆීල් වෙනවා you අර A level එකට එන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Let's say you have terrible issues related to these parts, then just listen and try to prepare something. Prepare a short note. That's your goal for the first hour until 8:15. Because afterwards, we'll be learning the most important parts. වැඩියෙන් ඕන ටික ගණන් හදන්න. Those parts you need to understand somehow. There's no option, you need to somehow understand. හරි මේක shape එකේ ගොඩ දාගන්න බලමු. Right. Understood? Atomic mass unit. What is the atomic mass unit? Any answers? කියමු බලන්න ටක් ගාලා. Now you can send answers to the chat as well. Any answers? What is atomic mass unit? මොකක්ද atomic mass unit කියලා කියන්නේ? දැම්මද? ටක් ගාලා දාමු chat එකට. Now when I am asking questions, I'll give you a few minutes. I like to see answers. That's the way I know you are engaged. Otherwise I won't read those answers. But I want to see. So it's okay getting the answers wrong. Up to you. It's totally fine. Hari, it's totally fine, but I'll give you 1 minute. Quickly send answers. ටක් ගාලා එවන්න ළමයි answers. Good. I can see correct answers. හොඳයි. Answers තියෙනවා 100ක් විතර. No. Okay. What is atomic mass unit? Now I can see the mass unit which other atoms are expressed. Okay. Still didn't get the proper answer. Mass of carbon 12 divided by 12. Okay. That's close. 1/12 of carbon 12 atoms mass. Sorry. Now some of you have sent me relatively terrible answers which are very wrong, I could say. That's why you are here, ne? If you perfectly knew the answers, you won't join, ne? Hari, simply the atomic mass is the mass of 1/12. Now we'll try to understand what this means. Now please understand, some students, for some these parts might be very easy. Shape එක හංගිමු. හැමෝටම බෑනේ තාම. Mass of 1/12 of the mass of මොකද්ද? Of 1, we'll make it clear. Of 1 carbon 12 atom. What is it? Mass of 1/12 of 1 carbon 12 atom. What does that mean? What does that mean? Mass of 1/12 of, we'll put mass, 1/12 of mass of 1 carbon 12 atom. So what we do is, we take 1 carbon 12 atom. Now you might not know what what carbon 12 means. We'll come to that in a minute. We take 1 carbon 12 atom, we measure the mass of that, and then we simply multiply it by 1/12, or else you could say we divide it by 12. So we take the mass, this can be written in a mathematical way, mass of carbon 12 atom. This is obviously 1 atom, right? And then this mass will be multiplied by 1/12, right? That's the first thing. And then we take the mass of carbon 12 atom in grams. Normally we take this in grams. Now what's the meaning of carbon 12? Can someone say, why do we separately say carbon 12? Now that might not be directly related to this unit, but you need to know that. Why do we call it carbon 12? Why not just carbon? What changes? නිකන් carbon කියන්න බැරි ඇයි ළමයි? It is an isotope. Okay. What is an isotope? Now I am asking more questions. In the first hour, that's what we are doing. I am just checking your knowledge. මටත් තේරෙන්න ඕනේ නේ මොන වගේ අයද ඉගෙන ගන්න කියලා. Okay. It is an isotope, correct? Then why carbon 12? You think it has different number of protons and neutrons? Sure. Different number of protons. Are you sure? Same atomic number but different mass number. Now what does that mean? What is atomic number? What is mass number? What are these terms? What do these terms mean? Because it is isotope. Something related to carbon isotopes. Something. That's what I am asking. What is the thing? The amount of... Okay. We'll try not to use these Avogadro moles or whatever. We don't know those. Sorry. We are just starting yet. I'm asking what is an isotope and why we are using carbon 12. Okay, I got the answer correct. This is an isotope of carbon What are the most common isotopes of carbon? Now still don't write, I'll let you write. An isotope of carbon. What are isotopes? Before that, what are the isotopes of carbon? No, we'll first try. What is an isotope? Isotope is an element which has the same atomic number. Now then another question. That's the issue with learning these subjects. In the last moment, this is the issue. There's very rarely you will learn all these concepts. Now I would say carbon 12 is an isotope of carbon. Then you don't know what is an isotope. Then you learn the same atomic number, but different mass number. Then you are asking what are these terms? Atomic number is simply, students, the number of protons. So whatever the carbon sample you consider, how many protons does it have? 6. How do we know? Because in the periodic table we can count from 1 to 6 for carbon. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon. 6. So all the carbons in this entire world, no matter whether it's bonded or not, or whether it's a different isotope, has only 6 protons. That's fixed. That's number 1. And then but it can have different number of neutrons. What about the electrons? That doesn't care. We don't care about it at the moment. So simply the atomic number is number of protons. What is the mass number? Number of protons plus number of neutrons. Now the number of protons for a given element can be the same, should be the same. The atomic number is the same for all the carbons, but the number of neutrons can change. Therefore, the sum of these can change. Now, what are the most common isotopes of carbon? Carbon 12, carbon 13 and carbon 14. This is the most frequent isotope. These two are also relatively there. Not that common, but we do find these. Right. Understood. Clear? No issue, right? So that's the thing. Right. Now you understand. You have number of protons plus number of neutrons is the mass number. Now, why do we call carbon 12? Because there is carbon 13, carbon 14. We don't want that involved here. So simply going back to topic now, this was something else, not that relevant. The atomic mass unit is simply we take the mass of one carbon atom and then we take 1/12 of that. Now you might ask, do we need to remember the mass of one carbon atom? Not really, but for the moment I will give you the mass. We will later learn a shortcut to calculate that. But for the moment, just you can write down that when I am asking you to write the note. The mass of the carbon atom is around, I don't remember this, I don't know. So I'll just copy the textbook, 1.993 into 10 to the power minus 23. You will later realize, some of you might know, why don't we need to calculate this? Remember this. We don't need to remember this. You will later understand why. So you have that, and then we divide it by 12, and then we get the atomic mass unit, right? So that's it for this part. Very simple. You write the topic atomic mass unit. The definition is mass of 1/12 of mass of one carbon 12 atom. Now normally in O levels also they won't ask you to write the definitions, and anyone can do it if they ask. But this is the part which is more important. This. You need to have the mathematical understanding. You take the mass of carbon 12 atom, then multiply it by 1/12. And then if you want, you can write down the mass of this. Then you can prepare these parts if you want. This is how we prepare short notes. Even in A levels, this is what we do. Dagan. I'll give you around 2 minutes. Meanwhile, if there's important, I'll answer. Oh. Done. Hari switch. Okay. And I can see there are a few questions about who am I and all. I think all in all I forgot to tell those names with the technical issues and all. You are just listening to some random person who is teaching chemistry, isn't it? Nothing. I think I forgot to do the introduction part. You can just write down the note. At the moment, maybe that's the top priority. Anyway, of course, you know my name, right? Right now, I am Pasindu Chammika, and we are currently conducting English medium A-level chemistry classes. So, O-level science is not our subject, but since we are doing A-level chemistry, of course, we can teach the O-level science chemistry part. So, every year, we started this last year, every year, we arrange few seminars, free seminars, to help the students who have issues related to O-level chemistry. That's what we are doing here, right? Yeah, so if you are interested about doing A-level and A-level chemistry, then we'll be meeting later. I'm not going to tell any of those details now. Now you are only focused on O-levels. But since there are a few questions asked what we are doing and who we are, just I'll let you know. Hari? Sorry. Okay, that part is okay. You are either. I think that's clear. Done? That's atomic mass unit. Atomic mass unit. So simply, what you need to remember is, you take the mass of one carbon atom, no need to remember the value, and then multiply it by 1 over 12 or else divide it by 12. That's it. It's just a unit. We use it. Why we use it will be understood in the next part. Why do we need, why do we do all of that? We have to take the mass of one carbon atom, we have to find that, that is what I have given here. You can see 1.993 into 10 to the power minus 23 grams. It's a very weird number. It's not a round number. A very weird number. Why are we doing that? Why carbon? We could have used, why carbon? We could have used oxygen. We could have used hydrogen easily. Why not? And why all of this? What's the reason will be understood in the next part. So the first subtopic is over, atomic mass unit is over. Then the next one is, you have atomic mass unit, and then you have, what do we have? The next two topics actually, relative atomic mass, relative atomic mass. Now what's relative? What's the meaning of relative? මොකද්ද relate කරනවා කියන්නේ සාපේක්ෂයි වගේ idea එකක් නේ ළමයි. What's relative? We relate, what's the opposite of relative? Something like, what's opposite of relative? To understand whether you understand the things. Relative වල opposite එක මොකද්ද? If in case I don't answer any of your questions, you can ask twice or thrice. Still, if I don't see what and how many messages I am getting, send to that number, right? Hammer slide the make the number. This is the number. Because I don't want anyone to miss their questions. It's a 5, It's 3 zeros at the end and then a 5. What's the opposite of relative? Irrelative. Anything else? Absolute. The opposite of relative is absolute. What's absolute? Absolute is we are not comparing with anything. Now, for an example, if I say that the color of my shirt is black, I'm not comparing it, right? It's like an absolute idea. But if I am saying my shirt is expensive, that's sort of relative. Why? Because expensive doesn't have an absolute meaning. Now, of course, now in our mind we might have, if the shirt is 10,000, then we think it's expensive. But it's not an absolute thing. For a millionaire, 10,000 might be just pocket money. Then for that person, it's not expensive. It's very cheap. If that person is wearing, let's say, Louis Vuitton, a brand, then 10,000 is nothing. Then it's cheap. So it's a relative thing. So if you are comparing something, or most of the skills are relative. I can sing well, or else my singing abilities are terrible. That's comparing, that's relative. We can't tell those things absolutely. That's the difference. Here also, that means we are comparing atomic masses with something, and then we are saying relative atomic mass. Then with what are we going to compare this? Obviously, the unit we defined earlier. What is the unit we defined earlier? This atomic mass unit. So what we are going to do is, on one side we have atomic mass unit. එක පැත්තක තියෙනවා මොකද්ද? Atomic mass unit. On the other side we have a mass of another thing. Let's say you want to write the relative atomic mass of maybe nitrogen. Now the question is this. The question is find. Now these are the small questions I am giving you. Find relative atomic mass of what? Mass of nitrogen. Now how are we supposed to do that? You take the mass of nitrogen, you take the unit we are going to compare. What is the unit? The one we learned previously, the atomic mass unit, and then you compare. How do we compare? By dividing. මෙයා වගේ කී ගුණයක්ද? How many times like this? That's what we are supposed to do. Then easily we calculate the relative atomic unit, relative atomic mass, relative atomic mass by taking mass of, normally we use atoms. Why? Because the name says relative atomic mass, so we are only considering masses of atoms. Normally, I think logically we can put anything here, but normally we are taking masses of atoms. So they can't ask a question saying find the relative atomic mass of nitrogen N2. Why? You think this is not an atom? This is not an atom. Then how are we going to find the relative atomic mass? Then there's another term for that. We'll come to that in a minute. So normally they are supposed to give you an atom. මෙතන දෙන්න ඕනේ ළමයි atom එකක්. Relative atomic mass. Clear? So you have find relative atomic mass of nitrogen. Then relative atomic mass equals mass of a given atom. We'll write mass of a given atom. Mass of a given atom will be divided by what? Atomic mass unit. Atomic mass unit. Does it make sense? මේ තමයි අපි compare කරන්න use කරන කෙනා. This is what we are using to compare. This is what we need to compare. So we divide those and see. Let's say you got the answer as 10, then we can say the relative atomic mass of nitrogen is 10. That's the whole concept. Very easy. Now can we have units? Units තියනවද ළමයි? නෑ. Why? Because the atomic mass units will be given in, what is the unit atomic mass unit? Gram. How do we know? ඉතින් මෙතන මේ. Now back to the topic. Now if you have issues මේ atomic mass unit, how do we calculate mass of carbon 12 atom? Now the mass of this is given in grams. So does it change by multiplying it by a constant? Will the unit change? නෑනේ තාමත් gram නේ. It's still gram. Then the unit of this will be in grams. Then mass of a given atom will be also in grams. Both will be in grams, isn't it? So the gram bedila, we don't get a unit to these relative terms. In most of the relative terms, students, in A levels you will learn few terms which have units, the relative terms. But normally I think in O levels, all the terms you have which are relative, the units will get cancelled out. I don't know whether all, but most at least. Even in A levels, most don't have units. Alright, that's it. Relative atomic mass is very easy. What do we use this to find? We can only use this for atoms, right? We can't use this for molecules. So easily write relative atomic mass. And then if you want, you can put a star mark. No need to write this. This is just a random question. I ask you to understand concepts. Write the topic relative atomic mass, and then I'll give you a small point. I'll give you a small point, and then we can write the equation. My topic. Write the topic. YouTube lama everything is fine, ne? Avulak naha neda? Good question. While you are writing the topic, why do we use relative atomic mass instead of actual mass? Why? Hey, now when you are saying the distance from let's say Colombo to Jaffna, why do we use kilometers instead of millimeters? You can use millimeters. It's more accurate. Millimeters are very accurate now. Why not micrometers? Why not? Why do we use kilometers? What's the reason? No, in the third seminar we'll be only discussing chemistry parts. We have a plan to cover the physics parts as well. I'll let you know in a minute. Alright? We can't calculate the actual mass of an atom. We can. If we can't calculate the actual mass of an atom, how are we supposed to do this? Mass of carbon 12 atom. We can calculate. Even we can calculate the distance from Colombo to Jaffna in millimeters, right? It's not because we can't. We can, of course. Then why are we using these different kind of things? Why are we doing all of this? Think of the question that ඇයි අපි කොළඹ ඉඳන් ජැෆ්නා වලට තියෙන distance එක millimeters වලින් measure කරන්නේ නැත්තේ? What's the reason? The distance is long. හරි. ඉතින් කමක් නැහැනේ. Why? The number will be hard to use, difficult to use. The simple answer is that just to make lives easy. The same question can be answered, the same answer can be given. Why do we use scientific notation? Now you might have learned scientific notation, right? Have you ever thought why? Because let's say, now in A levels you will understand if you are doing A level chemistry. A level chemistry is difficult than O level chemistry, but little bit more, I would say, interesting. Why is it? Because things won't be just taught. We learn the logic. Now let's say you learn something like this, 0.0023. This is some of your value you got, and then you have to do a calculation. Let's say you are doing so many steps. Can't we make a mistake and write this like this in the next step? Can't we simply miss one zero and write the value incorrectly? We can, right? To make things easier, we use the scientific notation and write this as 2.3 into 10 to the power minus 3. That's the idea. Even if you want to write the distance from Colombo to Jaffna, let's say it's 400 kilometers. 400 kilometers. Maybe when we write it in meters, it might be not exactly 400,000. Maybe 400,004 meters. Ne? Maybe. This is not easy to use. We don't want this. We don't care about this part. Let's say maybe it's exactly 400,000. Still, I think this is not easy to use. Ne? You will have to count how many zeros are there, and then when you are using those, it's not that easy to compute inside our brain. The simple reason is that. Now, if you want more examples here, this is the mass of one carbon atom. Not a pretty answer to work with. Ne? The mass of one carbon atom is 1.993, and this is also a round off value. Make it our decimal points. We have few more, making it very difficult. Into 10 to the power minus 23. That's the reason. Otherwise, we can always calculate, but it's difficult. We always, now can you remember now, just answering your questions. Now, if you have done even very few amount of questions, you know, what are the answers we get for relative atomic masses? Normally, carbon has a relative atomic mass of 12. No need to remember this. In the paper, they will give. Nitrogen has 14. Oxygen has 16. Hydrogen has 1. Very, very easy to deal with numbers. Compared to that 1.993 into 10 to the power minus 23. That's the reason. Very simple. So that's it. Write the topic relative atomic mass and then put a star mark and we'll write. Put a star mark and limo. The ratio between the ratio between the relative atomic mass, you put a star mark and write the ratio between mass of a given atom, the ratio between mass of a given atom and atomic mass unit. The ratio between mass of a given atom and atomic mass unit. Mass of a given atom and atomic mass unit. I'll repeat, the ratio between mass of a given atom and atomic mass unit. Now you can write this equation. Always don't try to study equations. Of course you will, but understand what that means. Make මොකද්ද කියවෙන්නේ කියලා මතක තියාගන්න, and then you can derive the equation itself very easily. If you want, you can mention these. The units of both of these would be in grams. දාගන්න. Hari? Write down the equation and then you can write down the equation and mention that both of these are grams. Now I am here and there answering some of the questions. So after today I learned it as 6 and up 12 carbon. Okay, that's a good question. One student is saying, until today I learned that carbon 12 is this. But today only I knew that carbon is this. No, both are correct. Both are correct. It's like this. When we have things which are obvious, we can refrain and we can just avoid writing those. That's the point. What does that mean? Now, what is here? This is the atomic number. This is the mass number. Mass number, atomic number. Now, can the mass number change from 12 for carbon? Yes, carbon 13, carbon 14. But can this change for carbon? No. Whenever you write carbon, from that moment, the atomic number should be what? 6. So, we can opt not to write it. It's our choice. So, both are correct. Hari? Dekama hari lamai. Hari? Right. If you want, after writing the equation, you can put a star mark and write, but relative atomic mass doesn't have a unit. That's obvious, right? The units do cancel. Relative atomic mass doesn't have an unit. Relative atomic mass doesn't have no unit. Done. I hope everything is clear up to now. Once the revision part is over, around 8:15, 8:20, I'll check whether you have understood everything. So can you explain Planck's constant? This is all level. Chat එක යාතල දාන්න එපා ළමයි. හරි. For a moment I was also thinking whether you have Planck's constant for O levels. නෑ නේද? Planck's constant. හරි. Then the third topic 3. This is relative atomic mass, a very similar one to the second one. Relative molecular mass. I'll remove this slide. Third one, relative molecular mass. Relative molecular mass. Relative molecular mass. Can you tell me how to identify neutrons and electrons? What do you mean? What do you mean by identifying? Back to topic. Relative molecular mass, very easy. The same concept, instead of comparing it for atoms, we are comparing it for molecules. Now if I write the second topic here just to show you the difference, second topic was relative atomic mass. Ekama de bang, the same thing. You have the atomic mass, which means we compare a mass of an atom with the atomic mass unit. Atomic mass unit that won't change, but we take the mass of an atom and compare with it. Here the difference is the atomic mass unit, the thing we use to compare, won't change, but what we compare will change from atoms to molecules. What are molecules? A set of atoms. Very easy, right? A set of atoms are known as molecules. Then here we are getting those molecule masses and then comparing it with that relative atomic mass. That's it. Exactly the same. The thing we are using it just is a little bit different. Now for an example, in topic 2 we can compare masses of nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, things like that. In topic 3, though, which are molecules, we can compare mass of CH4, mass of N2, mass of O3. You can see molecules, right? So first point, palawini tarula kuna dala liyanna. Under the first point put a star mark and write the third topic, relative molecular mass. Put a star mark and write tarula kuna dala liyamu. A combination of atoms. A combination of atoms. A combination of atoms are known as molecules. A combination of atoms are known as molecules. A combination of atoms are known as molecules. That's number 1. A combination of atoms are known as molecules. That's point number 1. First star mark. Then put the second star mark and write a combination of atoms are known as molecules. Star number 1. Star number 2. Star number 2. Will there be any biology seminar? I can't confirm on a biology seminar, but definitely we'll have a physics seminar. It's not done by myself. I'll send those information to the group. So now normally when we have a WhatsApp channel, you might sometimes miss the messages. So always switch on your notifications so that you won't miss anything. Now if you are joining new without knowing any of these, we created a channel around 1 month ago. That's when we decided on starting these seminars, and then you haven't missed any seminar. This is the first seminar. You have 2 more seminars, electrochemistry and a past paper discussion, and everything will be informed on that group. And already we are doing a daily MCQ series just to revise your knowledge. If you are interested, you can fill those. And we have a drive link with the most important short notes. So our crew members are preparing a short note series, and it is on the group. Group again, there's a drive link. You can click on it, and then most of the lessons will be revised as short notes. Not only chemistry, the other parts also. If you want, you can use those. Because our intention is to give the maximum. The only thing we expect from you is share the message around, and after your O-level results come, you can let us know that this seminar helped. That's a very good feeling to know. We helped a student who had issues, and then that student got a good result. And if you are doing A-level maths or bio, then we'll talk about those later after the seminars and after your O-levels are over. Everything will be done on that group. So switch on the notification and make sure you receive those messages. Okay, relative molecular mass. The second point you can write. The mass of a given molecule, compared to the mass of a given molecule compared to the mass of a given molecule compared to the mass of a given molecule compared to the atomic mass unit. I'll repeat. Just send your questions once, don't repeat the questions. I'll reply to all of those later. After the seminar, I'll reply. The question, the point is mass of a given molecule. The point, the mass of a given molecule compared to the mass of atomic mass unit is known as relative molecular mass. The mass of a given molecule compared to atomic mass unit is given as relative molecular mass. The symbol for this is actually Mr. Mr. Is it yeah, sorry, it's capital Mr. In O levels we are not using that frequently in A levels. Here for the previous one also it should be AR. R is subscripted. Subscripted. Okay, so you have relative molecular mass Mr. What is it? The mass of a given molecule compared to atomic mass unit. So easy, very easy to write the formula. Mr is equal to mass of given molecule. In around 10-15 minutes we will finish this part, the theory revise part. Then comes the important part. Sorry, mass of a given molecule divided by atomic mass unit. So both are again in grams, therefore no units. If you want, you can mention that as well. No units. Sorry? Then put a third star mark and write. After writing this equation, put a third star mark and write. Now this is important. This is very important. This will be used in questions in your calculations. Most of you might know this. Put an important star mark and write Mr, or else if you are more comfortable, use the long form. Relative molecular mass can be calculated using relative atomic mass. Relative molecular mass can be calculated using relative atomic mass. Relative atomic mass. Relative molecular mass can be calculated using relative atomic mass. Done. Shall we check a small example? Now most of you might know this. Example lab balanna podi. Now let's say they are asking you a question. Calculate relative molecular mass of maybe we'll call it something like this, CH3OH. We don't know what CH3OH is. CH3OH, sorry. And then they are supposed to give you, in brackets, have you seen in questions they are giving some data like this. These are the relative atomic masses. These are actually the AR values. H equals 1, oxygen equals 16. They might give some unnecessary data like nitrogen equals 14. We don't want that. So a very simple calculation can be done even without understanding these concepts. Any one of you can do this very easily. What is it? නිකම්ම කරන්න පුළුවන් ළමයි මේවා තේරුම් ගත්තේ නැතත් නේ, even without understanding you can do that. That doesn't mean you shouldn't understand. ඒත් පුළුවන් ඉතින් ඕන්න. You take how many carbons do we have? 12. How many carbons do we have? 12 plus, so I can write Mr equals 12. How many hydrogens do we have? 3 hydrogens here, 1 hydrogen here, so that's 4 hydrogens. That's 4 hydrogens. 1 into 4 plus 1 oxygen, which is 16. So the total answer should be 32. So this is the relative. Remember, no units. Unit na. For the relative terms, we learn 2 relative terms, no units. This is what we get. If you want, you can mention that. You can write the point and then example and write calculate MR of CH3OH, and then you can write this example if you want. Very simple ideas. තාම මේ පට්ට ලේසියව කරන්න. Still we haven't entered any of the questions. කමන්නේ නීරියා. Atomic mass, number of R hydrogen. So number of protons are atomic mass. When you know the mass number, if you know the number of protons, you can get the number of neutrons. For the electrons, you need to know the charge of the atom. Just answering your question. ඒවට මම හිමීට උත්තර දෙන්නන්නේ after the seminar, or else අර number එක මතකයිනේ ආයෙත් ලියන්නම් ඕන්න. This is the number. If you have any chemistry related questions, send it to this number. We'll respond later. ඕන්නම් දාලා තියන්න chat එකේ, but you will have to wait until I finish the seminar and answer your questions. Hurry. Okay. දාලා තියාගන්න මේක. That's over. Hari, it's almost 10 minutes past 8. Are we done? Harida? Put thumbs up pack react කරන්න ළමයි if you are finished. Don't send a text. I can't read the text now. Varni varai na, right? Hari, okay. Then the final topic, the fourth one. Mole. Some students don't like this word. Mole and Avogadro constant. Mole and Avogadro constant. ඇති අම්බෝ ඇති. Enough. Now we can මොකක්ද ඒක කියන්නේ? Reaction එක, remove the reaction. I don't know the term for that. හරි. Avogadro constant and mole. Write down the fourth topic. යා ගන්න ළමයි හතරෙන් topic එක. I'll quote your textbook for this part. Hari, we'll write it first and then we'll try to understand. Under the topic mole and Avogadro constant, first write Avogadro constant. This was found by the scientist Avogadro. That's why we call it Avogadro constant. In your textbook, have they given any symbols? In A levels, we use symbols. Now, okay, if you want, we use 2 symbols for Avogadro constant. One is Na. Actually, it's Na. A means Avogadro. Or else you can use a capital L. I'm not sure whether you use this in O levels. In your textbook, it isn't there. But I just mentioned it. Hari. Avogadro constant. Put a dash and write. Dash at the limu. Avogadro constant. First, we'll write and try to understand what that means. Sorry, I'll just quote your textbook. Textbook එක දිනක හැම්ම කියනවා මම. I'm quoting it. When a mass of any element or molecule, any atom or molecule, we'll write it like this, when a mass of any atom or molecule when a mass of any atom or molecule equal to its AR or MR. AR or MR. Why do we use both AR or MR? Because for atom we calculate AR, for a molecule we calculate MR. So we are including both the definition at once. We are trying to be a little bit lazy, or you could say smart. Hurry. When a mass of any atom or molecule equal to its AR or MR is taken in grams. Medically again. We'll first write it. Is taken in grams. It contains the same number of we don't need this. I'll explain this later. It contains the same number of atoms or molecules. Just a statement, not a definition. This is a discovery. This is observation. What do we observe? When a mass of any atom or molecule, we take any atom or molecule, and then we consider its relative atomic mass or relative molecular mass. For atom is the relative atomic mass, or AR. For a molecule it's MR. Let's say we take a molecule, the MR is 100. Hari. So I take 100 grams of that molecule. Now this is this is a molecule. Make a molecule. Like we don't know the formula. It's a random molecule. This pen is a molecule, a set of atoms. Hari. And the relative molecular mass of this pen is 100. Imagine 100. Then you take 100 grams of this pen. Hari. Maybe let's assume this is 100 grams. 100 grams. Hari. Then they are saying, if we do it for all the molecules and all the atoms, you have another atom which you know the AR is 12. You take 12 grams of it. You know another element which the AR is 15. You take 15 grams of it. You take all of that and then you count how many atoms or molecules are there. Always you will get the same number. That's what they are saying. Always you will get the same number. Now I can express this graphically like this. I'll express this graphically. The definition, right? The definition I am going to use a graph to explain what that means. Let's see what happens, what this means. For an example, I'll take a few compounds and few elements. First we'll write few atoms. We'll write atoms. On the other side we'll write molecules. Right? I'll write some random atoms. Hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, maybe let's say something new. Neon or fluorine. Fluorine. These are 4 atoms, just randomly picked 4 atoms. Few molecules. O2, C6H12O6, glucose, if you can remember. CH4, methane. NH3, ammonia. Few molecules, randomly picked molecules. Sorry. Now the next thing is we need to find, or we need to calculate the relative atomic masses or relative molecular masses for these atomic masses. So we need to calculate the AR. We know 1. No need to remember any of these. These will be given. This will be given 14 and fluorine is 19. Right? On the other side, you will have to calculate MR. Why? For molecules it's MR, for atoms it's AR. Hari, we know that. And then for O2 it's 32. For glucose, if you calculate, you will get 180. Now I even taught you how to calculate. If they give you carbon, hydrogen and oxygen values, you can calculate and get 180. The last example, check. CH4, 16, NH3, 14 and 3, 17. Now what are we supposed to do? දැන් මොකද කරන්න ළමයි? Now you are supposed to take the equivalent amount of mass in grams. ඒ කියන්නේ hydrogen take a sample with 1 gram. Carbon take a sample with 12 grams. Nitrogen take a sample with 14 grams. And continue the process. 17 grams, 16 grams, 180 grams, 32 grams. ඔන්නෝක තමයි. That's what they are meaning in that statement. If that statement was confusing, that is what they are saying. And even in the textbook, they have shown a similar graph like this. If you didn't understand, that's what they are saying. What they are saying is, if you do so, you would find that 1 grams of hydrogen sample contains a number of hydrogen atoms. 12 grams of carbon sample would contain a number of carbon atoms. But surprisingly, both of them are equal. ඒ දෙක සමානයි. You will get the same value. And if you check how much 17 grams of ammonia has in ammonia molecules, how many ammonia molecules we can find in 17 grams, that number is exactly the same. What is that number? The number is 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. That is known as the Avogadro constant. So this is the Avogadro constant. So if someone asks what is the Avogadro constant, how can we explain in simple terms? ලේසියෙන්ම කොහොමද ළමයි අපි කියන්නේ? It's very easy to say. You take a given atom or a molecule. You need to address both. Atoms, molecules දෙකම කියන්න ඕනේ. You take a given atom or a molecule. Find the relative atomic mass or the molecular mass. Find the relative atomic mass or the molecular mass. Hari. Get a sample equivalent to that atomic mass or molecular mass in grams. Then count how many atoms or molecules we have. Now imagine the process. You take some atom or molecule, check the atomic mass or the molecular mass, AR or the MR, take the value in grams and then count the molecules or atoms. Then the value we obtain is known as the Avogadro constant. Now that's the question. Done. Now if you want, you can, now you realize what this means. If you want, you can write this in a way you understand. ඔයාට තේරෙන සරල භාෂාවෙන් ඕනනම් ලියාගන්න if you want. Or else you can summarize this here. What we did was took atoms, molecules, wrote the molecular mass, atomic mass, picked samples equivalent to that number in grams, and then you would get the value. Is that clear? YouTube lamai? Did you understand these earlier? How is the progress? Then go home lamai තේරෙනවද? YouTube live එකේ මේ A level දේවල් කතා කරන්න එපා. O level lamai බය වෙයි. O level students will get scared. මේ equals MC squared උයි මොනවද මේ? ළමයි? Don't do that. හරිද? Don't be like that. පවුනේ. එහෙම එපා. YouTube ළමයි? Zoom ළමයි? Can you understand? How is the process? Progress එක කොහොමද? තේරෙනවද වැඩේ? You want me to explain again? Don't think MOL minus I'll teach that. ඒක හිතන්න එපා. You can it's good no? Hurry. Once more, තව එකම පාරක් quickly we'll revise. Hurry quickly. We need to finish all of this at around 8:45. I mean this part and the most important parts. ඔක්කොම ඉවර කරන්න ඕනේ. We are almost there. හරි ටක් ගාලා අල්ලගමු ළමයි. හරි ආගන්න. Otherwise you will have to wait after 10. I can, but it's difficult for you. ඕනේ නැහැ එහෙම. I'll repeat once. The Avogadro constant is a constant, obviously. It's a number. Avogadro constant is ඉලක්කමක්. It's like 1, 10, 100, 500, 1000 වගේ. Avogadro constant is a number. It's a very large number, right? 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. Again, you need to write this and then another 20 zeros. 20 zeros, right? What that means is, what that number represents is the number of atoms or molecules we find when we take a given atom or molecule and take a sample which is equivalent to its molecular mass or atomic mass. So for an example, let's say I'll take a different one. I'll take, what can I take? I'll take something new. Maybe something like this, if you can remember. This is sucrose, H22O11. Can you remember sucrose? The first unit biology. C12H22 O level. Now if you want, you can calculate the relative molecular mass. 12 into 12 is 144. 1 into 22 is 22. 16 into 11 is 176. So once you add, you will get 198 and 342. Hurry. 342. Right. That means the MR of this molecule is 342. So if you take 342 grams, remember grams, and count how many sucrose molecules we have in that 342 gram sample, the answer you will get is this. Then why do we call it a constant? Because if we do it for every molecule or atom, the answer you would get is the same. Ekai. That's the reason. Clear? Right. And then there's a question asking, why do we write like this? I think in your textbook they have given it as this, the unit MOL minus 1. We'll come into the we didn't learn about mole. For the moment, we don't think of that. It's just a number for us. We don't care about the unit. It's just this. Have they written that MOL minus part in your textbook? Textbook in A levels we use, textbook if you want, I'll teach that. Anyway, so that's the idea. Now if you want, now I think I have explained it few times. Again, if you have issues or a number send a text, I can send you a voice note explaining. Okay, finish this. Now the only part we have to learn in the first part of this seminar is mole. What a mole means. Okay, now we are going to learn a mole. Now here's the thing, a small thing. If you want to know the definition of a mole, I'm not going to write it because here's the place students get confused with Avogadro and mole. If you want to know what the definition of a mole is, you can check your textbook, the 130th page. Here we are not to learn all the theory and definitions, right? That you can do by referring to your textbook. We are here to solve all these issues we have, the misconceptions and the things we haven't understood properly. So I'm not going to give you the definition. I don't care about it. We don't need it actually. If they ask a theory question, you can check your textbook. Repeating again. The only thing you need to understand is mole is again a number. It's not a thing, it's a number. Mole එකක් කියන්නේ ළමයි මවුල in Sinhala is a number. It's like 1000, 10,000, 1, 2, 5 It's a number which is exactly equal to this. Which is exactly equal to the Avogadro constant. So simply, I have a stamp collection. I have a stamp collection. If I have 5,000 stamps, I could say I have 5,000 stamps. But let's say I have this much of stamps. A very large number, isn't it? I have this much of stamps. I have this much stamps. Then I can say I have 1 mole of stamps. Very simple. I have 1 mole of stamps. That's it. So I'm not going to repeat the definitions. We don't want those. Just cleanly understand. If you have a sample which contains an Avogadro number of anything, can be atoms, can be molecules, can be stamps, can be coins, can anything. That is known as 1 mole. So mole is a number. It's a set. It's a set. Sample with a sample size of this much. Right. If you want, you can mention that in your own words. That's not a definition. It's just a way of understanding the idea. You can write a sample which contains an Avogadro number of things. Just things, anything. A sample which contains an Avogadro number of things. A sample which contains Avogadro number of things. Things means anything. If you want, you can write Avogadro number of anything. That's not a definition. You can't write it as the definition. Definition is in your textbook. Go and check. A A sample which contains an Avogadro number of anything or things is known as 1 mole or else a mole. Finish. Hurry. Now මේ YouTube එකේ දාන්නේ ළමයි. If you spam the chat, sorry, I'll have to remove you, so don't do that. Hurry. Don't waste others' time. If you want to go and watch anime, ගිහින් බලා ගන්න. It is how it is defined, 1 mole of. So why does 1 mole of different substances always contain same number of particles but different masses? Because the substance mass is different. Carbon atom mass, nitrogen atom mass, hydrogen atom masses are different. Yeah, that's why. It's like you are asking, why does 500 toffees and 500 pens weigh differently even though it's 500? Because the mass of a toffee and a mass of a pen is different. That's why. Okay? Yeah. So what did I say? A sample which contains Avogadro number, or else you can write this, of anything is known as a mole or 1 mole. Right. That's it. Onna lamai summary එක. That's the entire summary of what you need to learn. Now what we have to do is to learn few equations and few things which will make it easy for you to do the questions. So the next few minutes I will be spending doing that. Alright, next few minutes I will be spending doing that. තේරුණාද? හරි. And one more thing, YouTube එකේ ළමයි. Now before we go to that part, before we go to the equation part, now from here onwards we are learning the most important parts. The first hour was spent on covering the basics, because I need to make sure you have at least the basics before starting. Without knowing what a mole is, sitting moles වලින් ගණන් හදලා ඩක් නෑනේ. No point doing that. That's what we did in the first half. And then now I am giving you a chance for maybe 5 minutes. If you have a very urgent question, more important කියලා හිතනවා නම් you can ask it on the YouTube chat. So if you are a student who is on the Zoom meeting, if you really want to ask a question, you can go to the YouTube live and send it to me. YouTube live students can ask. The reason is the Zoom update ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා තියෙනවා නම් ළමයි, Zoom එකේ now it's like this. The way I can see is there are a lot of chats like this, and then I can see this much messages, this much. So I'll have to open all of that to answer. පේන්නේ නැහැ them, it's like 99 plus. පේන්නේ නැහැ කොච්චර තියෙනවද කියලා. හරි, so I'll have to go one by one after the seminar. But in the YouTube it neatly මෙහෙම යනවා. ඒක හින්දා මේ if you have a very urgent question, I'll give you these 3-4 minutes. Go to the YouTube live. Link එක click කරලා Zoom එකේ ඉන්න. Leave වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Go to the YouTube live, click on it and then ask a question and then you can rejoin. හරි. So for an example, 1 gram of hydrogen Avogadro part is 16. Yeah, correct. Why does 1 mole of any gas occupy the same volume at the same temperature? That's not a question I need to answer now, right? Does it? Huh? Is it in your O-level syllabus? නෑනේ. නෑ නේද? If it is, let me know. Hurry. That should be answered using A levels. In A levels, we learn those. And that's not even, that statement isn't correct. We have several types of gases, only for one type that works, not for all gases. So don't confuse all level. I mean, if you are genuinely asking the question, if you are interested, it's fine. But I strongly recommend don't ask anything outside the O-level syllabus. මේ මෙතන ඉන්න ළමයින්ට have enough problems to solve. They don't want to get scared. එහෙම කරන්න එපා. If it was in a past paper, just send it through WhatsApp. I'll answer it. Hurry. So could you please send the short notes to the channel again? Of course, I'll send the link. And එහෙම මොන හරි very important questions තියෙනවා නම් and ඒවා අහන්නත් එපා. Don't ask those. Ask the ones which you have like strong issues. Again, let's say some students have that, with having that issue, you can't focus on the next part. Now we are going to learn the most important parts. ඒක හින්දා අර මාරම අවුලක් තියෙනවා නම් YouTube එකට ගිහින් you can send a text. හරි? Okay, why relative molecular mass has no unit while molar mass has a unit? Okay. First thing, relative molecular mass does not have a unit because it's relative. It's relative. When we are comparing things, normally the units will get cancelled out. About the molar mass, I won't answer because I haven't taught the molar mass part. Now I'll start that. because that comes to the most important part. Hari? Okay. How can I join the channel? Isn't the link on the description? It is. Check the description. You know how to check the description on the YouTube channel, right? On the YouTube live, and the link is there. You can click on it and join the channel. I am back. How much worth of marks overall can we get from this lesson? Not a lot. Direct marks. So you would get few MCQs, but for all the calculation parts, these skills would be required. Ne? In most of the chemistry related questions, you need to know how to calculate the molar masses and do those sums if you check your level papers. How the MR is calculated through AR? Median? You need to know all the ARs for a given, so if this is the molecule you are supposed to calculate the MR, you need to know the relative atomic masses of all of these, and then you can do the calculation here. 12 for one carbon, 4 because 4 hydrogens, 4 into 1, 16 for the oxygen. So why should we use 12 carbon isotope to calculate F? That's the definition. It's just a definition. There are more reasons, but that's out of your scope. Can you differentiate between mole and Avogadro once more? There's not a very it's not that different. Avogadro is a constant, it's a value. If anything has more than, if anything has that number in a sample, we call it a mole. It's like this. What did again? Should I give you an example? Yeah. Now, what do we call a set of 12? If you have 12 pencils, what do we call it? A dozen, right? So, dozen and 12 is very similar, but we use it in two different ways. 12 is a number. A set of 12 is known as a dozen. It's the same thing. Avogadro is a number, 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. Why is it significant for start earlier? If a set has that many things, we call it a mole. Hari? Won't Avogadro constant change? No, that's why it's a constant. Hari? Okay, so mole kiwa then kiwa unit 10 at the Avogadro constant I explained. A set of Avogadro constant. I'm not going to explain it again. I explained it few times. Okay. Right. Now back to the session. Now most of the questions I taught in the previous in this session. If you think you have missed a lot, YouTube live you can start from the beginning if you want, or if you have like serious issues. If not, forget about that and listen to the most important parts. Now we are going to start that. First thing. Why do we calculate these relative atomic masses and relative molecular masses? What's the purpose? It's very easy. It's very important. Now, important. So pay attention, and then we'll start discussing. After finishing the important parts, I'll give you a small interval, and then I'll start discussing the questions. Hurry. At about 10:15, everything will be over. Because with the delay and all, and then we'll finish all the questions and all. Perfect session. Hurry. Focus. Hurry. Focus. No, it's not 1 into 3, it's 1 into 4. Here, because we have 4 hydrogens. Here we have 3 hydrogens and 1 hydrogen. We have 4, that's why it's 1 multiplied by 4. Hurry. Okay. Done. Hurry. Important meva. Now, why do we calculate AR and MR? Why is it significant? Because it's very important. It's very important. Now, this is actually the reverse logic of what we learned about Avogadro constant and mole. Some might understand why it is a reverse logic. If some doesn't, we don't care. Just understand this concept. The importance of knowing AR and MR is, let's say, AR of carbon is what? 12. Hence, we can say, hence, molar mass, now we are learning a new term, molar mass of carbon is 12 grams per mole. Okay, now don't get confused on the lagan. What does that mean? Now we already know AR of carbon is 12. Again repeating, no need to remember this. Hurry. That means the molar mass. What is a molar mass? Mass of 1 mole. Mass of 1 mole. Now my general advice, if these things get conflicted or confused with the things we learned previously, if you have written the note clearly, don't think about those parts. You can go and look into those later. These are the important parts. Try to learn from here onwards. Sorry. Okay. The relative atomic mass of carbon is 12. Therefore, we can say the molar mass of carbon is 12 grams per mole. What does that mean? If we take 1 mole of carbon atoms, that will weigh 12 grams. That will weigh 12 grams. It is not something new. We learned the reverse idea of that earlier, but some of you might not connect the dots. Therefore, just think of this. Regarding MR, MR එකකුත් බලමු. MR එකක්. MR of who do we take? NH3. NH3 is 17. No units. Relative way no units. 17. Then molar mass of ammonia is how much? How much? 17 grams per mole. Right. What is molar mass? Mass of 1 mole. That is why we learn. So this is under the most important parts, you can mention this first. Why do we need to learn AR and MR? Because if you know AR or MR, you can directly relate it to molar masses. So normally we will be working with these terms when we are doing solving questions. Dagan. That's the first important thing. That's the first important thing. I'll put 1. මේ ටික හොඳටම ඉගෙන ගන්න. හරි. I'll number from 1 and write around 5 points. Perfectly try to understand these. Then you can answer almost all the questions. The first point is, if we know the AR for an atom or a MR for a molecule, we can calculate the molar masses very easily. Not a calculation, just you are writing units. Okay. I missed the seminar, the first parts. I just joined now. If you understand this, you can continue, but make sure everyone, that can happen since we are sending all the messages to a channel which is separately in a separate section in WhatsApp. Make sure to switch on the notifications. පුළුවන් නේද in channels when you go to the channel section. Updates part again. If your parents are having your phones, then again make sure you don't miss. The next seminar is on the 13th, Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. You have holidays, I think, for A levels, and it's a morning. Tuesday morning. Next session is the electrochemistry. Don't miss it. Very important. Yeah, my channel lege udda gihama, I think you have the notifications tab. You can tap on it and make sure the notifications are on. Or you won't miss anything. Right. Okay. Molar mass is this and this. Sorry. That's the first important point. Hari neda. Thumbs up at then lamai react to thumbs up if this is okay. Agara denna. Hari okay, right? Nice. Solid. Second one. If you want YouTube live එක බලන් යන්න ඕන නම්, if you joined late, you can check the YouTube live. Everything you can start from the beginning. We will have school at we got exam on 13th. Okay, I'll send a poll to the group, but I think most of you are free. Not now. Hurry. So that's why from tomorrow onwards also pay attention to the group. So if we need to change now, if you can remember, this seminar was supposed to be held on 6th. But most of you had term test, so we switched it to 9th. Hari, ඒ වගේ issues තියෙනවා නම් I'll send a Google form or I'll send a poll by tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening. Reply. Hari, එතකොට බලමු. Right. The second one. In questions, you are supposed to calculate the number of moles which can be done by this equation. This is the equation. Number of moles can be calculated by this equation. Hari, the number of moles can be calculated by this equation. Dagan. What does this mean? N means number of moles. Okay. M means mass of sample. It can be atoms, it can be molecules. We don't care. Mass of sample, anything. Can be atoms, molecules, anything. This is the molar mass. Molar mass. Now, how do we get the molar mass? See, I teach with a very strong connection. How do we get the molar mass? Now, the mass of the sample should be given. Number of moles is what they are expecting us to calculate. How do we calculate the molar mass? Using this. You know the AR or the MR, then you can easily get the molar masses. We'll do some questions so you would understand this perfectly. Anyway, the second one. Number of moles will be calculated by dividing the mass of a sample by molar mass. Mass of a sample by molar mass. Hari. හරිද? Okay. හරිද? හරිනේ. Okay, so what are the units in this? Units මොනවද ළමයි? Number of moles. The unit is mole, MOL. MOL. Mass, grams, normally. Molar mass, grams per mole. So if you look at the units, this is how it works. The units of this part would be grams divided by grams per mole. So can you see the gram to gram term will cancel, and here you have mole per mole. When it goes to the top, it becomes mole. So you would get this unit. Right. The second one. 30 seconds. Then now. Hari. Hadi neda? Hari. Okay. Third one. The third important point. Now this equation you don't have neither. Can someone confirm whether you have this equation? Nෑ neda? Do you have this equation? තියනවද? නෑ නේ. Cross එකක් දාන්න. නෑ නේද? You don't have it, right? YouTube ළමයි. For their response I'll have to wait for 15 seconds normally, I think. Alamai, do we have this equation? No, alright, okay, we don't have this. Alright, good. We don't have this equation. In A levels, we use this. You might not have this equation, but they expect you to do calculations which can be done using this equation. Remember this. If you want, don't use this. But here's how we use the equation. If I subject capital N, I will get N times NA. I subject capital. Now, this make out of syllabus. Out of syllabus. Sorry. But I'll teach you a small concept. Hari. We learned this in A-level chemistry. That's why A-level chemistry is a little bit more difficult, but it's in a way easier because you learn all the concepts. N is the number of moles. We know that, right? N is the number of moles. Hari. Na, we learned what was Na? Avogadro constant. Avogadro constant. Or else we could say this into 10 to the power 23. Hurry. This is number of atoms or molecules. Number of atoms or molecules. Number of atoms or molecules. Now, if you can remember some questions they ask in your papers, they would say something like this. Calculate the number of atoms we have in 2 moles of hydrogen. Have you seen such questions? Calculate the number of atoms of carbon. Calculate the number of atoms of carbon of 2 moles of carbon. Calculate the number of atoms in 2 moles of carbon. What do we do? 2 them the number of moles, the Avogadro constant, and then you get the number of atoms. It can be molecules as well. Make it O. 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 We will do some questions like this in a minute. By Pinadi Pahaking again, we will do this. In 5 minutes, we will be doing a question related to this. Hari? Anata Damagaram. No, okay. The paper get MCU on a paper. Hari? Shall we do a question related to this? Now almost the important parts have been finished. There are actually 3 more points I need to teach. But before that, I think most of the questions can be answered from what we have done now. Hari, I want you to do what's the question I want you to do? Do the 10th MCQ, a past paper question. Get the tute. It's the group description is on the YouTube live. The tute is on the group. It's in as a group, as a drive link. If you don't have time to find that, just copy the question. If you want, you can write this, but you can't use this in your O-level papers because this is out of syllabus. But this idea has been used in questions, in answers. They haven't given you the equation. In answers, they have used this. Equation they have done the simplification. That's it. They have multiplied 3 by Avogadro, 4 by Avogadro. Check your textbook. It's there. Okay. What I want you to do is take the tute, page number 3, question number 10. Question number 10. 2020 O-levels 13th MCQ. 2020 O-level 13th MCQ. If you can't find the tute at the moment, don't rush. Write down the question. Others mata tag gala hadala. If you are okay, puri thumbs up create karanna. Ara katila tika ayin kala daganna. The question is, what is the number of O2 molecules? What is the number of O2 molecules in 64 grams of oxygen gas? If you don't have the tute, I am reading the question. What is the number of O2 molecules contained in 64 grams of oxygen gas? What is the number of O2 molecules contained in 64 grams of oxygen gas? Hari. Karan. Samara ivarai. Already good. Others quickly try to get the answer. If you want, you can use this equation. Now try. It's a little bit difficult, but that would summarize all the ideas. So to find the number of atoms or molecules, what do we need? We need the Avogadro constant. Do we need to calculate it? No, we should know it. The Avogadro constant is this. You should remember it. Hurry, or else it will be given in the paper, but to be safe, remember it. The number of moles. Calculate the number of moles now first. That's the goal. Calculate the number of moles. And YouTube lamai especially send the answer to the chat. What's the answer? No need to type that long answer. Just say 1, 2, 3 or 4. That's the answer. Okay, good. Others. Okay, pena. Nice. The first goal is what? If you are struggling, the first goal is calculate the number of moles of oxygen. And then you can just multiply it by Avogadro and get the answer. I'll give you 1 more minute. If you have already done it and if that feels comfortable, don't wait. Nikan inne pa. You can try the first question on the 6th page. It's just a question given by us to give you the idea in a better way. Try the first question in the 6th page, which has 4 parts. A, B, C, D කියලා parts 4ක් ඇති. Try that. Which is a summary of everything we have done up to now. ඕන්නම් first do this question. හොඳයි, I can see some answers. හොඳයි. If you got the answer as the second one, good. හොඳයි, yeah. If not, check what went wrong. If not, check what went wrong. හරි, shall I teach you the question? මේ බලන්න. This is the idea. මේ බලන්න. What do we need to do? Whenever හොඳට අහගන්න. If you didn't get this correctly, especially listen. Whenever they ask to calculate a number of atoms or molecules, without writing the equation, we are using that equation I just wrote. ඕන්නම් එක දාගන්න. When they ask you to calculate the number of atoms or molecules, and especially in the answers, you can see that 6.022 10 to the power 23 is there. අනිවාර්යෙන් අර equation එක. This equation they have used. So obviously we have that. We know that. We need to just calculate the number of moles of O2. Number of moles of O2. How do we calculate the number of moles of O2? මෙතනින්. This equation, mass divided by molar mass. කොහොමද ලස්සනට යන හැටි? You need to calculate n now. N is given by m over capital M. How to calculate capital M? මේ තියෙන capital M, the molar mass. You need to calculate mr or ar and then just write the unit. Unit එක දාලා ලියන්න. ඔන්න බලන්න flow වෙන හැටි ගන්න. Now this is how we'll use everything we learned up to now. මේ බලන්න. The first thing we need to calculate molar mass of O2. Molar mass of O2. How do we do that? We need to find mr of O2. The relative molecular mass. If you want, you can forget about that step. If you directly just add 16 and 16, anything, if that's comfortable, up to you. Anyway, the actual way of doing this, මේක කරන හරි විදිහ, the correct way is we find mr of O2. How do we do that? What's mr of O2? 16 times 2. They have given O equals 16. That's AR. So 16 plus 16. 16 plus 16. හරිද? So these are AR of O. O අකුරේ O කියන atom එකේ these are AR values. This is O, oxygen O, ARs. When you add these, you will get the MR as 32. If you know the MR as 32, I can write the molar mass as what? 32 grams per mole. මේ බලන්න ලස්සන now all the concepts which you know, which you couldn't find the connection, now you know. How AR connected MR. AR is for atoms. Since we have 2 of those atoms, it is a molecule. AR 16 16, you get MR as 32. Okay. Then the molar mass 32 grams per mole. Maybe you didn't know that, you just wrote 16 and 16 and put the units without any understanding. Still you get the answer, but now you have a very good understanding. මේක වෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා තේරෙනවා. Now we have the molar mass. Hurry. Once we have molar masses, once we get the molar mass, what next? Molar mass එක ආව ගමන් in molar mass, you can easily find N equals M over capital M. M is the mass of sample. M is mass of sample. M is mass of sample 64 grams divided molar mass 32 grams per mole, which would give you the answer as 2 moles. On the second step. This is the second step. Harida, this is the second step. I think this question is enough itself to learn most of the concepts. We found the AR. With that we got the MR. AR is given. We got the MR. MR was converted to the molar mass. With just the difference is only the units. Using molar mass, we can calculate the number of moles. Hurry. Then shape එකේ we might not write this equation, but this is the equation we are supposed to use. This is the equation we are supposed to use. ඕක ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නේ නැහැ. හරිද? I am making your lives easy. We'll write it the other way. Number of moles is 2. The Avogadro is this. හරි. ඔය තියෙන්නේ answer එක. Answer 2. The number of molecules are given as this. Number of molecules are given as this. Complete the 3 stages and I'll give you a small extension for the question. තව චුට්ටක් අහන්න පුළුවන් විදියක් පෙන්නන්නම් මම. හරිද? now මේ බලන්න now what is this මේ මොකද්ද ළමයි මේ n කියලා හොයාගත්තේ what is this n what is this n number of O2 molecules hari how did we get that we know how much O2 moles we have and then we multiply it by that Avogadro constant to get the O2 molecules hari now a small addition make a chemistry name this part is not chemistry most of the students get scared or get confused make chemistry name the fourth step now in the paper they are asking the O2 molecules what if I ask don't get confused number of O2 name O nikan O akuru O atoms how should I change this answer to get this a step further එහෙම ඇහුවා කියලා හිතන්න. දැන් කියන්න. Instead of asking for the O2 molecules, I am asking how much O atoms. I just need to do a very small change. කරපුවම උත්තර එනවා. කොහොමද ගන්නේ? Is it okay to use that equation in O levels? එපා. Don't write the equation. ඒක මතක තියාගෙන substitute. හරි don't write the equation. Remember the equation and substitute the terms. You can write this line. මේක ලියන්න. මේක ලියන්න බෑ. Now what is my question instead of number of O2 molecules මේ වෙනස බලන්න compare the differences here it is O2 molecules here it is O2 molecules here it is O atoms how to change my answer now how to change my answer කියන්න බලන්න ළමයි YouTube එකේ ළමයි especially Zoom chats is very difficult to read 200 වගේ messages තියෙනවා can't see all the chat GPT explanations දාන්න එපා can someone explain how to change my answer instead of O2 molecules now my question is O atoms what changes හොඳට හිතන්න think what is the relationship between O2 and O think හිතන්න think I'll give you a few seconds don't guess try to logically answer that question few can understand now some of you understand the term is 2 some of you are doubting whether we need to multiply this entire thing by 2 or else divide by 2 hari those are the options hari think what is the correct option and why hitan do we multiply this by 2 to get the answer for this one or else do we divide this by 2 that's the only question so nothing else මෙයා මොකුත් වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ nothing will change if you understood up to now good for this part one small change now all of you see that there are two oxygens here O2 2 here's only one so all of you understand it's the factor is 2 but the issue is whether we divide or multiply hari hitan good තේරෙනවනේ it's a very simple idea ළමයි always O2 is 2 atoms of oxygen මේක අමතක කරන්නකෝ just think common sense I have 5 molecules of O2 මේ බලන්න හරි සරලයි නෙමේ I have 5 molecules of O2 නැත්තම් 3 කියන්නකෝ 4 කියන්නකෝ 4 molecules of O2 now I am asking how many O atoms do I have ඉතින් මේ බලන්න this has 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 what's that very simple now when those Avogadros and Molar masses and all those different difficult terms comes your brain මොකක්ද දෙන්නේ brain fade එකක් එනවා හරිද some divide this why do we divide we multiply නේ just remember normally when they ask for the number of molecules and then they ask for the number of atoms වල answer එක normally is larger than the molecules I can't guarantee always but normally නේ if you find a number of molecules and then they ask the number of atoms always that answer should be larger හරිද now for the previous one we got the number of molecules as this hari but what we know is Number of atoms, this is the number of molecules of oxygen, O2 number of molecules, sorry, what is this? What is this? The number of molecules of oxygen, may O2 තියෙන ගාන. But what we know is one O2 will always have two O's. Then multiply this by 2. Another 2, you have to multiply this by another 2. So instead of saying O2, if they ask for the number of O atoms, then the answer would be the third answer. 2 into 2 is 4, this into this is 4, that's the third answer. Right. So we have to multiply. Right, it's just common sense, exactly. You understood multiplying by 4. Now some of you, if that was confusing, again think of this. It's a very simple question. Even a 3 grade student would understand. If I have 4 O2 molecules, how many O atoms do I have? Every O2 molecule will have 2. That doesn't have anything to do with the moles, Avogadro, we don't need those. It's just common sense. One O2 will have 2 O's. One O2 will have 2 O's. So simply understand that. We'll do a similar question. The students who got it wrong, can you understand? Can you confirm? That's the most important part. Students get confused. Why? Why do you get confused? Because you like to learn equations and substitute. You don't like to think. That's why common sense is a difficult thing for you. If there was an equation, then you will substitute and get the answer easily. But there isn't. You need to understand the concept. Alright, good. Now if that is understood, most of the issues are over. Most of the unit gets summarized with that part. Now what I want you to do is, before doing the past paper questions actually, shall we try to this question, page 6, page 6. Once we finish, I'm repeating, once we finish page 6 question number 1, around 80% of this unit is over. The doubts are clear. Then podi parts ටිකක් කරලා ඉවර කරන්න තියෙනවා. හරි? Page 6 question 1. කරන්න බලන්න. For that you need to have the past paper the tute actually. කරන්න බලන්න. If you can do all 4 A, B, C, D, patta. Superb. Nice. Nice. Quickly do page 6. Question 1. It's about calcium carbonate, CaCO3. Karanna balan. They have given ARs, find MR, find molar mass, find number of moles, find number of molecules, and then find number of atoms. The exact same question I did here, but the formula is different. It's CaCO3. Karan, try them. I'll give you 3 minutes maximum. When you are done, I don't want all the answers. YouTube එකේ ළමයි send the answer for the D part. Send the answer for the final part, because if you got that correct, I know everything else is correct. D part එක Zoom එකේ ළමයි react a thumbs up so I could see. Finish now, send the answer. Don't chat anything except for what I am teaching here. Hurry. What is the answer for the D part? It's not 3. කොහොමද තත්ත්වය? Read the question. It's not how many oxygen atoms are present in 1 CaCO3. It's in the entire 25 grams. So it's not 3. Hari? So is A-level chemistry so hard? Nah. It's obviously harder than O-levels if you work properly, no? Now I'm seeing some answers which can be correct. I don't know, but can be. Okay, now we are seeing some progress. Nah, it's still not the correct answer. Try, hitan. Now some of you have got the answer. Hondai. Now I'll just write the answers just to check whether you are on the correct path. I'll teach these. The answer for the first one is 100 grams per mole. Second one 0.25 moles. If you got this, then you are on the correct path. Balan. Now we are seeing some answers. All of you have the tute, right? Tute you can get it from the group. Okay, now we are seeing some answers. Now other students also. Now you can see your answer. You can see the answers sent to the YouTube chat. Compare it and see what if you have missed anything. Zoom lamai. That's the progress. It's very hard to find a new message. Yeah, the class will be finished at around 10:15 again. In a 1 more hour, we'll be done. Most of the things have been covered now. මේකට උත්තර ගන්න පුළුවන් නම් if A B C D are correct, most of the doubts are solved for you. You have done the job well. Now we are seeing some correct answers. හොඳයි. ඕමයන්. බලන්න පොඩි try එකක් දෙමු. I'll give you time until 9:15 and then we'll start. 9:15 nakam balanna. If the Zoom students need some help, go to the YouTube live and put a balanna. There are some answers which looks correct. Balanna if you want. Do the first question on the 6th page of the tute. Shall we? Me බලන්න. හරි. දැන් අහගන්න. Now enough. ඇති වෙලාව. Okay. What do you say? අහගන්න. දැන් හැමෝම now everyone should pay attention. When I am teaching, doesn't matter whether you got the answers correct right now. You have to listen. හරි. එක Calculate the molar mass of calcium carbonate, CaCO3. Right, now what's the first step? When they give you a formula, this is a molecule, right? Then we need to find the molar mass. They are asking to find it, right? What's the step? Before finding the molar mass, we find the thing called a relative molecular mass. Now, of course, you can ignore these steps and just write 40 plus 12 plus 16 into 3 and get 100. That's correct. And then write the unit. But the proper process is, first we can consider all the relative atomic masses of these. For calcium it's 12. For carbon it's, for calcium it's 40. The relative atomic mass. These are the ARs. 40 for carbon it's 12. For oxygen it's 16, but we have 3 of those. Sorry. Then using the ARs, we can calculate the MR, the relative molecular mass, which is 40 plus 12 plus 16 into 3, which is 100. Do these have units? Nah, units nah. Then we can calculate the molar mass. If the relative molecular mass is 100 for this one, then the molar mass would be 100, but with units, grams per mole. So this is the answer for the first part. A part. So you get 100 grams per mole. This is the exact procedure of doing the question. Harima vidhiya meka. Maybe you might not write any of these, just do this and put 100 and then write this, up to you. The correct process is this. Hari. Then what's the next step? Ilang step mokadda? This is part A. Then part B, very easy. Part B is very easy, no need to think because it has an equation. Equations thiyana. Find the number of moles present in 25 grams of calcium carbonate. Very easy. N equals M over capital M. That's the equation you need to remember. M is in always grams. You need to write in grams. 25 grams divided by molar mass. 100 grams per mole. Which we got here. Then you get the answer as gram will get cancelled with grams, and then you get the answer as 0.25 moles. Sorry. Most of you had got this correctly. Remember how this question flows, because sometimes this type of question can be given for MCQ. Then you need to remember the process. Now here the question is guiding you. First find the molar mass. Next find the number of moles. That's the process. The steps we are supposed to follow. Okay. Then C part. I'll give you around 30 seconds to understand this if you have doubts. Balan. Hari. Okay. Then C part. What does the C part ask? C part shortcut. The equation I taught you, which is not in your syllabus. Calculate the number of calcium carbonate molecules in the sample. Very easy. When they ask for a number of atoms or molecules, what we do is we use this equation without writing it. Don't write this. Then the number of moles, 0.25. Number of moles, 0.25. You got it already, Hari. Multiplied by the Avogadro constant. Hari. This is it. No need to simplify. If they ask you to simplify, you will have to. But since most of these questions will be MCQs, they will give an answer like this, 0.250, 1 divided by 4. Both are the same. The C part is very easy now. It's not confusing. The D part, some of you got wrong. Now read the question carefully. They are saying, how many oxygen atoms are present in the given sample? It's like the previous extension I gave you. Now I asked you to do a past paper question about O2. And then I gave you an extra question. Can you remember? We decided whether we have to multiply by 2 or divide by 2. I'm talking about that. Now what is the question? They are asking, in this calcium carbonate sample, how many oxygen atoms do we have? Think of it. We'll try to analyze this question the way we did the same thing, because it's the same idea, right? Now if I have maybe let's say 2 calcium carbonates, if I have 2 calcium carbonates, how many oxygens, O akuru kiyak tiyawada, how many O letters do we have? Here I have 3 of those. If I disintegrate this, if I break down this, I have 1 calcium, 1 carbon, 3 oxygens. Here 1 calcium, 1 carbon, 3 oxygen. It's not chemistry, it's common sense. 3 and 3, 6 oxygens. Why? Because I can see it's visible. In 1 calcium carbonate molecule, I have 3 oxygen atoms. I have 3 oxygen atoms. Isn't it? Hari neda? In 1 calcium carbonate molecule, I have 3 oxygen atoms. Hari neda? Then, මේ බලන්න. What is this number? මේ මොකද්ද? It's the number of calcium carbonate molecules. හරිද? Then if they ask how many oxygen do we have, that number should be multiplied by what number? කීයෙන්ද වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ? ටක් ගාලා කියන්න ළමයි. chat එක. That number should be multiplied by what number? That number should be multiplied by කීයෙන්ද? ටක් ගාලා කියන්න. YouTube එකෙන් එන්න වෙලා යනවනේ. 3, exactly. It should be multiplied by 3. Why? Every molecule contains 3 oxygen atoms. Hari. එහෙනම් මේ බලන්න. I know the number of calcium carbonate molecules and also I know how much oxygen atoms do we have in one molecule, which is 3. අර දැන් මම ඇඳලා පෙන්නුවේ. I just showed you the 3. Then when they ask the oxygen atoms, what we just do is we take this value. Sorry, 0.25 into Avogadro, right, should be multiplied by 3. Now what is this? Calcium carbonate molecules. This is how much oxygen we have in one molecule. Sorry, it's how much oxygen molecule we have in one molecule. Good, hondai. Right. Now if you got that question right, 80% of your issues related to unit 3 is solved. I can guarantee that. If you didn't get it right, check what went wrong, whether it's solved now. So this question is the benchmark to understand whether you have got the unit or not. Definitely there can be some difficult questions, but most of the questions are this level or below this, 4 levels. Hari? Okay. Hari, how many minutes do we have? Around 50 minutes we have until 10:15. Most of the things have been finished. Most of the doubts have been cleared. So just to check whether the doubts are solved, after the seminar you can try the second question. Now we did the first question in page 6. You can do the second question, which is very similar. That's the question. Now there are a few more topics I need to cover. We'll switch to the O-level seminar, O-level past paper questions in the tute, and I'll point out the questions which we can't do now, and I'll address those now. Before that, how's the progress? I just need a honest comment from you. YouTube එකේ ළමයි chat එක දාලා තියන්න. You can send a message so that if you want you can react, or send a message, I can read it later. That's the only happiness we have doing these seminars. YouTube එකේ ළමයි කියන්න බලන්න. කොහොමද තත්ත්වය up to now? Are you happy? Is things going well? Where scene එක? Is it possible to keep the number of moles as fraction? Yes. Clear? හොඳයිද? Does things make sense? I'm satisfied. This is the first time I've been able to do such a question. Yeah, these comments really make me happy. Hari? ඔය කරන්න ඉතින් ඒක තමයි. Hari? Thank you. Okay. Now, Hari, I got the comments. Thank you. I got the energy boost I wanted. Thank you. Now we'll focus again. Hari, now come to the tute ganna. There are a few more things we need to finish. Now we have around let's say 45 minutes. Now we have been doing a solid job. We didn't even have a small interval එකක් තිබුණේ නැහැ නේ ලොකුවට නේ. I gave you like 3-4 minutes, that's it. But still you all are doing, I think still we have around maybe 300 students. හොඳයි. We are doing a solid job. තව විනාඩි 45ක් විතර තියෙන්නේ. We'll focus. මේක අහගමු හොඳයි. මේක ඉවර කරගමු. හරි. මොරල් එකේ ඉන්න right. Now take the tute. Model paper questions you can try later. Just those are just included just to make sure you have got the idea. But for the past paper questions, at the moment we have wait. How many questions do we have? For the past paper questions, I have included all the previous 5 years from 2020 to 2024. Now, looking at that, you would see only around 2 to 3 questions have been asked in calculations, but realize that in the essay parts, to do most of the topics, for the calculations, you need to know all of these. Ne? Might not be direct questions. Even in A levels, the chemical calculations doesn't have a lot of direct marks. ඒ පාඩමෙන් ගොඩක් ලකුණු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. But for the other units, we need those. It's like a skill. Calculations are like a skill. Now, for an example, if someone asks for an English medium student, how many marks will you get for the science paper from English? It's 0, right? But if you don't understand English, you can answer the paper. So it's like 100%. අන්නේ වගේ it's indirect marks. හරි? Right. So out of the 11 questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You can do the first question. Second is very easy. Third you can't up to now. Fourth, no. Fifth you can. Sixth we did already. Something very close to that. No, sixth ne make karene. Sixth also you can. 7 you can't. Okay. And 8 no. 9 we did. Something like 9. 10 we did. 11 you can't. There are few more things which we can't. Now mention this. From what we have done up to now, we can do 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 9, 9, 10, 11. I am saying that because let's say you are doing the tute and you realize I can't do the 8th question. That means you exactly know I need to watch the first part of the recording. So these are the main parts. So there have been few more questions included which are not directly related to the unit 3. Some are not, and those are not the main part but have been asked. ඒකින්ද ඒවට අපි යනවා ටිකකින්. හරි? Nice. Happy to see the comments. Thank you. Hari, okay. Medical organ, if you want mention this. Hari, what do we have? Okay, before starting 3, 4, 7, 8 and 11, few things need to be taught. Now these are not directly related to the unit. Now I think if you were able to do that question, I asked you to do the first one, page 6, try the second as well. That means you can do all of the questions. Hari. But if you have doubts, I'll let you know what to do. But before that, we'll go and check the other parts as well. Very easy. You need to know few things. One, this equation, not in unit 7 I think, but this is expected. Concentration equals number of moles divided by volume. Concentration equals number of moles divided by volume. This is concentration. So I think I wrote few important points, right? I think I wrote how many important points? Around 3. Is it? Can't remember. Come on, this is I think 3 or 4. This is also very important. Concentration. This is again number of moles. Can you see the connection? Number of moles divided by volume. Right? Number of moles divided by volume. Normally, we use the unit, here it's obviously moles. Here we write the unit in cubic decimeters. Cubic decimeters. So that the unit of this concentration would be moles divided by cubic decimeters. Why? Here it's moles divided by cubic decimeter. So we write it as mole per cubic decimeter. This is our unit for the concentration. If someone doesn't know what a decimeter is, Decimeter is 10 centimeters. Then what is a cubic decimeter? A cubic decimeter is 1 decimeter into 1 decimeter into, sorry, just letting you know this, most of you might know this, which means, what does this mean practically? You take a cube, ganakayak ganna. You take a cube, which means you know all the sides are same in length. Now this might not look like a cube. I think I have the option to draw a cube. Hamedi? You have the cube. That option. Haven't used that much. The side length is 1 cubic decimeter, depth is 1 cubic decimeter, and we can call it the width if we want 1 cubic decimeter. This is the volume of this cube is known as a cubic decimeter. So the length, all sides, so a cube with a side length of 1 decimeter. If you want to convert this to cubic centimeters, 10 cubic centimeter, 10 cubic centimeter, 10 cubic centimeter, which will give you 1000 cubic centimeters. Even I think in maths you have more than this for the unit conversion part. Just revise this. Sorry, right? Okay. Harida? Okay. So that's 1000 cubic centimeters. Done. You are right. That's 1000 cubic centimeters. Ten centimeter, 10 centimeter, 10 centimeter, 1000 cubic centimeters. Done. Anyway, back to topic. Just let inform you what that is. Mega danna mega dagan. C equals N over V. That enables us to solve question number. Did I say we can't do the third question? Third we can, ne? Yeah, third one we can actually. Calling again this explanation. The third one I'll come to this slide in a minute. Third you can actually. Sorry, my bad. Make a bulwan lamai. Hari, learning this equation, concentration equation, we can do question number 8 and 9. Sorry, 7 and 8 actually. Yeah, 7 and 8. Shall we try to do question number 7? Try MCQ 7. MCQ 7, page number 3. Page 3, which is from past paper 2022, 31st question. MCQ 7. Try this page number 3, MCQ 7. Now, again, if you have serious doubts, if you believe, you can ask on the YouTube live. If I think it should be answered immediately, I'll answer now. Others, do the MCQ 7 and I'll teach you how that is done. Concentration related one. Don't spam the chat lamai. I'll have to remove you. Tagala. Zoom students, if you are done, put a thumbs up. YouTube students, you can send the answer to the chat. I want you to do the 7th question. Now we are doing the small part. Sorry, podi kayala tika karan yanne. Done. React. Raise hand karanne ba. Thumbs up එකක් දාමු. We have around 35 minutes more. Focus එකේ කරන් යමු ළමයි. හරි තව චුට්ටම චුට්ටයි තියෙන්නේ. What is your A-level result? කියලා අහලා තියෙනවා. I did maths for A-levels in 2020. Hari, and I am currently doing engineering as a final year student. And I got 3 years and I am attending University of Molar. Okay, I can see some answers. Good. බලමු හරිද කියලා. Zoom ළමයි. මොකද අත්තේ? How's the progress? Try 7th MCQ, page number 3. 7th MCQ, page number 3. Can see answers coming. Hondai, nice. I'll give you 30 seconds more. Anit kattiya try karan. If you have finished the 7th, 8th එකත් කරලා දාන්න. 8 වෙනි එකත් try karan. The same question, only the data is different. That's why it's very important to do past paper questions. Can you see? The 2022 and the 2021 questions are almost the same, only the values are different. Only the values are different. The questions are almost the same. Try 7 and 8 both. Okay, nice. I can see the answers are coming. Hondai. Hari ahaganna. Now listen. Now pay attention. Stop doing all the questions and listen. What is the mass of C6H12O6 glucose? Required to prepare 1 cubic decimeter of 0.1 mole per cubic decimeter. Now, once you read the question, you can see 0.1 mole per cubic decimeter is a concentration. The only equation we know for concentration is C equals NOV. Now here, you know that I gave you this question under the concentration part. But when you are doing the question in O levels, you don't know which part to use. So there should be a thinking mechanism, right? I have used this equation because after I taught it, I gave you the question. O levels, you don't know what equation to use. So look at the data and think what are these values and what are the equations we know. That's the easy way to start the question. If you have no idea on what to do. Here you can see 0.1 mole per cubic decimeter is a concentration value. This is a concentration, isn't it? Make a concentration. Then use this equation C equals N over V. You know the concentration as 0.1 mole per cubic decimeter. No need to write the units because this is MCQ. I'll just write moles per cubic decimeter. Number of moles have they given? No. But the volume has been given as 1 cubic decimeter. Now then see whether you were able to simplify this easily. N is equal to, I subject N, so I have to cross multiply this. I think those simple ideas are okay. If those are not okay, send a text. I'll help you. Even those things we can help. You can see per cubic decimeter and cubic decimeter dm minus 3 and dm3 should cancel out. I think you know those. So the answer should be 0.1 moles. This is not the final answer. This is the number of moles we need. But is that what they are asking? No, they are asking the mass. Then think, what are the equations we know to get the mass when we know the number of moles? Very easy. Why? You know an equation like this, N equals M over capital M. You know this, 0.1. They are asking for this, right? This is the only equation which we have both of these, right? Then we can get this if we know capital M. Now think whether we know how to get capital M. Now remember, what's the process to get capital M? AR, MR, capital M. Relative atomic mass, then relative molecular mass, then put the unit and molar mass. What's the right? What's the formula? C6H12O6. Now do we know N? Do we know N lamai? Yes, 0.1. Hari, gatta. M, that's what they're asking. Then we need to find capital M for that. Capital M, the process is AR, MR, capital M. What's AR? We have C6H12O6. That's the compound we are looking at. Neither? Hari. So the AR for this is 12. AR for this is 1. They have given. maybe in the question they have given, normally I think they give neither for A levels, O levels they give the at relative atomic masses. I think we haven't printed it here, but in the other questions you can see it. Oxygen is 16. Then this is the AR. How to get MR? 12 times 6, 1 times 12, 16 times 6 would give you what? 180. So MR is 180. Then we can get capital M, the molar mass, as 180 grams per mole. That is what exactly we need. Right. So you have number of moles as 0.1 moles. Mass as mass, we need to find it. Molar mass as 180 grams per mole. 180 grams per mole. You can cross multiply and get the mass as 18 grams. 18 grams. Alright. You can get the final answer as 18 grams. So can you do a math seminar? No, I can't. I'm doing the chemistry part because I'm teaching A-level chemistry. Otherwise, I won't do this. I should take the responsibility. So my expertise is in this chemistry part. That's why I'm doing it. Ready? Okay, that's what we have. You have 18 grams. Do the 8th question as well. I can see some answers coming in and get the answer. Very similar kind of a question. එකත් කල්ලි වර කරගන්න. 8ත්. හරිද? ඒකත් හරි ළමයි. For the 8th question, I'll just tell you the answer for the moment. It should be the third one, neither. The answer should be the third one. If you got 5.85 gram, correct. Now in this question, they have given us the concentration and the volume. If you check the previous year 2021 A level, they have given the volume, again the concentration. Then you just need to find the number of moles and then just multiply it by the molar mass and get the mass. Very easy, the same question, just the numbers are different. It's very lazy. Okay, so at the moment the only questions you can't solve according to what we did today should be the 4th and the 11th. Should be the 4th and the 11th. I haven't covered those parts. Stoichiometry ideas, and then the 11th ask about a molar fraction. Before doing those two, those are just isolated parts. Only one question has been asked for the entire recent paper set. What I want you to know is up to now. Now I won't answer your questions, but I want you to tell me. Consider the MCQs. Now I'm giving you some time to ask questions. Sorry. We have around 30 more minutes left. Consider the MCQs from 1 to 11 and 1 to 9. We have 20 MCQs in this tutor, a very small number. You have past paper MCQs from 1 to 11 and model paper MCQs from 1 to 9. You can try those later, and then if you have issues, I'll tell you if you have issues what to do. But before that, if you really think this question should be nice if it could be taught here now, if that could be discussed, please tell me now. Then except for the 4th and 11th, make again 4 and 11 I'll teach you at the end. Anything else you want me to teach? You can just screen through the questions, roughly check the questions and tell me මොනවද කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. Zoom ළමයි, what you can do is wait. Now see whether you can text everyone the comment chat. Can you text the comment chat? Puluwan now. Okay, now send messages to the comment chat. If you can't access the comment chat, or if you had issues with the chat on the Zoom, I forgot. That means your Zoom hasn't been updated. Then use the YouTube live. Okay, Q1. Okay, Q1. Others. I won't answer all. I'll just check what the most of the students want, and then I'll discuss around 2-3 questions until around 10. And in the final 15 minutes, I'll be doing the 11th and the 4th question. Alright, and then we'll have like 3-4 minute talk, and then we'll finish. Good messages. You want 1, some of you want 5. I can just roughly get an idea. You want me to do the 8th? 8 is very similar to the 7th. Ask that later. Sorry? Ask the question later. 8 is very similar. 7th we did now. Then okay, I'll start with the first question. Most of you want the first question. Hurry. Okay, pay attention now. Now stop sending the messages. I selected my first question. Question number 1, Q1. Okay, from a recent paper, 2024 last year. Given in the figure are masses of 4 gaseous hydrocarbons. Totally not relevant to the question. We don't care what masses they have given. That's just given to confuse you maybe. In which of them equal number of molecules are contained? Very easy. You just need to calculate the number of molecules. Now here, how do we get the number of molecules? By calculating the number of moles and then multiplying it by the Avogadro constant. Number of molecules is equal to the number of moles into Avogadro constant, isn't it? Since this is a constant, now this is a logic I am trying to develop to make things easier. Since this is a constant, if this is same, then this would be same. Neither. If this is same for 2 gases, let's say CH4 and C2H4 out of the given ones, since this is a constant, this would be same. So no need to always multiply by Avogadro and check the answer. If the number of moles are same, then the number of molecules are same. Why? We are always multiplying it by a constant. By the same number. Neither. Then the thing is we need to calculate the number of moles for all of these. You have to calculate the number of moles for all of these. What I am going to draw is, no need to do all of this. Just to give all of you the clear idea, I am preparing a table. No need to do all of this. If you can understand, it's just easier than this. Anyway, first we'll write the mass that's given. How much? 8 grams, 7 grams, 10 grams, 11 grams. Then we'll calculate the molar mass. Mass means simple m, right? I'll use the symbols, simple m. Then I'll write the molar mass. How to get the molar mass? AR, MR, molar mass. So 12 plus 1 into 4 is 16. So the molar mass is 16, but you need to write the unit 16 grams per mole. Here, so these all of these have units. Gram, 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 gram. Here this is grams per mole. This is 24 and 28. 28 grams per mole. 2 carbons is 12 into 2 is 24, and then 6 more is 30 grams per mole. Here it's 36 and 8, 44 grams per mole. So the first part has been done very easy. What did we do? We calculated the molar mass. Now how are we supposed to get the number of moles? Or simple n. You just need to n equals m over m. N equals m over m. Isn't it? M over m. Then take this divided by this. Take this divided by this. You can get the number of moles for everything. Lazy. 8 divided by 16 is 0.5. 7 divided by 28 is 0.25. 1 over 4. 10 divided by 30 is 0.333. 1 divided by 3. 11 divided by 44 is 0.25. Check whether you understood that. This line was given. This line was calculated using the relative atomic masses. Very easy. Then this line, you just divide this line by this line to get this. and then we find this answer and this answer is the same. For C2H4 and C3H8 we have the same number of moles, which means we have the same number of molecules as well. Why? Because the number of moles will be multiplied by the same number. Does that make sense? Since this is similar, since we are multiplying it by the same number always, this would be the same. Then if I name these as A, B, C, D, B and D have the same number of moles, therefore same number of molecules. So the answer is 3. Okay, good. Finish. Then some of you wanted me to do the 5th. I'll do the 5th. Okay, now I'll again remove the access to the chat, the Zoom chat. Can I do so? Yeah. Now only you can chat with me, I think. I'll do the 5th question next. Don't chat on the YouTube live. YouTube live chat karaganne ba. I'll give you 30 seconds. Then I'll start the 5th question. First the students who wanted explanations, did you understand? React karamu kattiya. Therunada? Understood? Good. Therunana icharai. Now you can hear me, right? Okay. Sorry for that issue. Now if anyone finds the workload a little bit too much, what you can do is you can try the questions again. You can watch the YouTube live. Because no need to go through the entire video, just go through the parts which you missed or which you didn't understand exactly. Can you just discuss the answers roughly to check whether our answers are correct? I'll send a marking scheme. No need to pay. I'll explain the after part. After, I don't know the name. The procedure after the seminar on the things which you can do and what we will do about this part. So if you have some things which you didn't understand, if you want more clarifications, if you want answers, let's say you did this but you want more questions, then what to do? I'll tell all of that after the session around 10:15 to 10:20. I'll take 5 minutes. Then you will have a very clear idea on what should be the future plan for you. Is it over now? No, we'll finish at 10:15. The fifth one. Of the following compounds, what is the compound in which the percentage of oxygen by mass is 50%? Very easy. Very easy. Don't think of all the masses and all. Just think of molar mass. Just think of molar mass. Just a general tip for you. If they ask a question like this, calculate the total molar mass and check the molar mass related to oxygen only. Now here the formula is this, right? What's the formula? There are a lot of formulas. Okay, I'll check this. NH4OH. Don't be afraid. What you need to find is the mass component of oxygen. How much mass does oxygen give? How many oxygens do we have? 1. So it's 16. Hurry. Then calculate the total mass. Don't think of units. Now you can think of units and perfectly understand the idea and get the question done. Some of you might do so, but the question is difficult for the students who can't do that at the moment. No need to do that. Just this is 16. And then calculate the mass of the other parts. This is 14. This is 4. This is 1. So this is 16. Then what's the fraction of oxygen in terms of mass? 16 for oxygen. And what's the total? 14 plus 4. You have to include this as well. 16 plus 1. 16 plus 1. Hurry. So it's 16 divided by how much? 30, 35. This is as a fraction. Since they are asking for a percentage, you need to multiply it by 100%. No need to multiply by 100%. What does 50% mean? 50% means half, right? Half. So if you have 1 here, you should have 2 here. When you have 16 here, you should have 32 here. So it is not 50%. So no need to multiply all and see. You need to have 50%. So it should be 1 and 2. 16 and 32, which is the double of 60. So this is not the answer. NH4 isn't the answer. NH4OH isn't the answer. Then shall we check another one? තව එකක් බලමුද? Shall we check another one? Calcium hydroxide. Sorry. Calcium hydroxide. 40. And now here you have to express this. This is 2 oxygens and 2 hydrogens. Sorry. So you have 16 into 2 and then you have 1 into 2. Sorry. 1 into 2. Why? 1 for hydrogen, 1 into 2. What are these values? All the ARs, relative atomic masses. What's right? Hurry. Then, what's the mass of oxygen? 16 into 2. Hurry. What is the total mass? 40 plus 16 into 2 plus 1 into 2. Simplify this. 32 here. Here it's 72 and 74. Again, it's not what we need. It's not the double. 32 and 74 doesn't give us 50%. So that's again wrong. So that's not the answer as well. Repeat the process and find the answer. I'm not going to teach you everything. Repeat the process and find the answer. What's the answer? Is the third one? Yeah, the answer should be the third one. Check. Why is the answer third one? Do you want me to show that? Still you can see, right? For the third one, it's CH3OH. So you will have to go one by one. The mass of oxygen, sorry, here it's 12. 1 into 3 is 3. 1 for oxygen is 16. So it's 16 divided by 12, 3, 16, 1. 12, 3, 16, 1. So it's 16 divided by 15, 31, 32. This is twice. 16 to 32 is 50% exactly. So that's the answer. Done. So the answer for the fifth one is the third. Answer for the fifth one is the third. Nice. Hari? Hari? Okay, that's the fifth. Pahat ivarai. Hari. Now I'll discuss the 11th and the 4th. For the 11th and the 4th, the parts they have used to ask questions are isolated. They haven't asked any question from that part. So we'll learn it separately. Kodiyata dagamu. Hari. I'll give you a few minutes. If you want, you can try the 11th and the 4th. But if you are not getting the answers, don't be upset about it. Why? Because the 11th and the 4th cannot be done directly from what we have learned. Those things haven't been asked frequently, but to make things complete and perfect, we learn those as well. If someone is finding those two a little bit difficult or too much for the day, just listen, nikang ahang inna, and check those later. Wait until the final 5 minutes because I'll let you know what should be the plan for the future. What if you have issues regarding these monada, when and when's the next seminar and all. In the final 5 minutes, I'll let you know. Hari. So we'll quickly do the 11th and the 4th. Now I think most of you might be a little bit tired. We have had a solid session, I think so. Balamu, neda. Okay. Do the 4th one. Try the 4th one. Do you understand what stoichiometry is? Shall I teach you? Shape. If you are tired, shape. Now just relax and listen. The 4th one says, indicated below is the reaction between hematite and carbon monoxide. Hematite is that Fe2CO3, carbon monoxide is CO. What is the mass of Fe that can be produced using 1 mole of Fe2CO3? Right. Now the first thing is, this is called a balanced equation. You know how to balance equations, right? It's like crossing the road. You look at the left side, then look at the right side, and then look at the left side, and somehow you put some numbers and balance it. In A levels, we call it the inspection method. Hari? There's no specific method for you. In A levels, we learn more methods, like proper methods, because there are equations which you can't just look at the left and right sides and balance. It's very difficult. Then we have methods. But in O levels, you just put random numbers and somehow try to balance it. There's no logic behind it. Hari? The question is, if you have 1 mole of Fe2CO3, how much mass of Fe can be produced? This is the question, isn't it? That is the question. Hari, me balanna. The first thing is you need to learn a thing called stoichiometry. Have you learned this term? In all of us, do we use this term, stoichiometry? Kiyanna balan. Stoichiometry, have you heard this term? Do we have that term for O levels? Online students, you know what to do. React across. It seems we don't have it, ne? We don't have it. Okay. YouTube lamai? Nadda? We don't have. Okay. Right. So you don't know this term. Stoichiometry is a term we learn in all A levels. Stoichiometry means the ratio between these reactants and products. Now we know this side is known as reactants, the other side is known as products. Common sense, right? So the ratio between those, but a molar ratio is known as stoichiometry. So simply, if you don't know the term, forget about it. But do you realize, looking at this equation, we can say 1 mole of this will react with 3 moles of this. Why? Because of this 1 and 3 here, even though it's not written, it's 1. 1 mole of this will react with 3 moles of this and produce 2 moles of this and 3 moles of this. Can you understand that? That's stoichiometry. If you didn't know, that's the meaning, that's the reason why we balance equations. There should be a reason to balance equations, right? Otherwise, you could have just written it. The reason is, by balancing equations, we can say how much of what will react and how much of what will be produced. So the idea is 1 mole of this will be reacting with 3 moles of this. Remember, it's for moles. You can't say 1 gram of this will react with 3 grams of only for moles. 1 mole of this will react with 3 moles of this, producing 2 moles of this and 3 moles of this. That's it. Understood? Did you understand? Can you confirm whether you understood it? That's what we learn looking at a reaction. No need to learn the term. We don't need the term. Stoichiometry, forget about the term. But see whether you learn that when now make it. Let's say you have another random reaction මෙහෙම හිතන්න. Just imagine this is a balanced equation. Just imagine this is a balanced equation. The meaning of this is 2 moles of A will react with 3 moles of B and produce 3 moles of C. තේරෙනවද? Does that make sense? That's the meaning, that's the purpose of a balanced equation. හරි? So going back to the question, 1 mole of this will react with 3 moles of this and produce 2 moles of this and 3 moles of this. Hurry. Now what's the question? What is the mass of Fe that can be produced using 1 mole of Fe2CO3, right? If we had 1 mole of Fe2CO3, how many moles of Fe can we produce? Now answer that. Taggala answer. You can see the answer, it's on the board. If we have 1 mole of Fe2CO3, how many moles of Fe can I produce? Taggala again. How many moles? Yeah, exactly. We can produce 2 moles, ne? It's written. See, 1 mole of, now remember that's a ratio, that's a ratio. So, in case they gave, you had 10 moles of Fe2O3, then you can produce 20 moles. It's a ratio, anupatayak meka. If you have 1, you can produce 2. If you have 2, you can produce 4. If you have 5, you can produce 10. If you have 10, you can produce 20. It's not just 1 and 2, it's a ratio. Think of it as a ratio, But they, in this question, it's very easy. They are saying 1 mole is 1 mole of Fe2CO3 is there, and then you have 2 moles of Fe. Now what's the question? What's the mass? Very easy, ne? When you have the number of moles and when they ask for the mass, you just use this. Number of moles, 2. Mass, that's what they are asking. Capital M, molar mass. Molar mass of this. That's it. Don't think of the 2 now. Huh? We are producing Fe. So this 2 has nothing to do when we are calculating the molar mass. Molar mass should be calculated to what we are producing. අපි හදන්නේ කවද? Fe. Then the molar mass of Fe is 56. Then substitute and get the answer. So if you are being more precise, you can write the units as well. Amai. If this was an essay, you can write the units. The number of moles is 2. Mass is mass. Capital M is molar mass. Multiply this and get the mass as 112 grams. Hurry. 112 should be the answer. That's the answer for the 4th. So check that question. Hurry. Just to make sure you understand this idea clearly, I'll give you one model question. We'll just check whether it's there in the model question part. Yeah, I'll give you a similar kind of a question like this. I'll give you a similar kind of a question and we can write that down. Focus first complete this question. So you have to mention looking at the question. If you want, you can write a small review. Don't be afraid to write reviews. Just write what you understood. 1 mole of this will react with 2 moles of this. Then we only have 1 mole of this, which means we'll get 2 moles of this. That means the mass is this using this equation. That's it. Very easy. I'll give you a little bit more difficult one. You can answer it after the seminar. Okay, right. Hari, are we done? What you can do is put another Q and write. It's a very similar question. Calculate the mass of carbon dioxide produced. Calculate the mass of carbon dioxide produced. A similar kind of a question. Hurry. Calculate the mass of carbon dioxide produced when mass. Calculate the mass of carbon dioxide produced when 150 grams of calcium carbonate is heated. 150 grams of calcium carbonate is heated. Question 8 I won't discuss because I discussed 7. It's very similar to 7. If you don't have issues, send a text. So I'll answer that. Alright. Calculate the carbon dioxide mass emitted when 150 grams of calcium carbonate is heated. 150 grams of calcium carbonate is heated. The equation for that is this. Use this equation. Calcium carbonate, you know what this triangle means, right? Heating. We are heating and then you will get this. This is a balanced equation. I am asking, if you heat 150 grams of this, how much grams of carbon dioxide would you get? Remember, you can't say 1 gram of this will give you 1 gram of this, and then you can't say 150 grams of this will give you 150. No, that's not how it works. Why? Why doesn't it work like that? Because we are looking at moles. We are looking at moles. Right? So you need to calculate some moles and think. It can be a little bit tricky question, but think about it. Right? Think about that question. Right? I'll send an answer to this one, to the group by tomorrow. Hari? Tomorrow is a very busy day. Normally for A-level tutors we have a lot of classes tomorrow. So if I am unable to send any of these what I am promising, I'll make sure at least by tomorrow night. Okay, hari evanna. Hari? It took day manang bari we have classes all day. Oh, video gaya balanna puluwan. Think. Good. Some of you have sent answers to the chat, which is actually correct. Hadala balan. I'll send the answer to the group. Hari? Think the answer. Hari. ඇති නේද? Now if you have doubts about the 11th question, it's not that difficult. Check the 11th question. If that's difficult, you can ask me. I think it's enough today. I think 10:15, that's the promised time. The only question, if you have doubts, should be the 11th. If you have, you can ask Hari later, because I don't want to drag this session, so you will find it boring, or you can be a little bit tired now. At the end, Hari, normally so heating triangle එක arrow එකට උඩින් ලියන්න පුළුවන්ද? Normally we write it අවුලක් නැහැ, පුළුවන් උඩින් shape අවුලක් නැහැ. 11th, the answer should be wait, oxygen 3යි, yeah, 3 or 5 තමයි. Yeah. Hari. මේකට answer I am not telling you, you can check. Hari? Now okay. Now we'll take 5 minutes and see what we have done. Hari මේක හරි නේද? You wrote the question and all, right? Everything is fine. Hari, we'll take 5 minutes and we'll finish at around 10:15, sorry, 10:17 again, 10:17, 10:18 we will finish. Okay, I think we had a good session. I want few things from you and you need to understand few things. One, first of all, thank you. First of all, thank you for joining, because most of you didn't even know who I was, right? You just saw advertisement, or else you got the message from a friend and you simply joined. And I think still we have around more than 200 across all the platforms, which is happy to see. Hari, which is happy to see. And you have this recording available on YouTube as a live. If you want, you can go and check, but won't be available for long. So you don't pass the opportunity. If the recording is removed, then that's it. You won't have it. Hari, I'm seriously saying. That's number one. Number two, make sure you receive all the messages on the WhatsApp channels, or switch on the notifications, because there were so many messages saying we forgot the seminar and we got late. Now what? Don't need to be in that situation, especially these days. No need to have a recording to watch because of those things, technical difficulties. That's number two. Hari, if you don't know how to switch on notifications, let us know. Hari will help you on that. Number three, any concerns, maybe technical issues, maybe things we could improve. Hari, apita, you can tell anything. Hari, no issue. We are also still learning things. It's fine. Hari, maybe I am the teacher, but you can let me know anything if you want me to fix on my side. Anything, send to this number. Any comments, send to this number. especially the questions you want me to discuss. If you want to know any explanation, if you want to explain, if you want me to explain anything specifically, send it to this number. And you should imagine that I would be getting hundreds of messages, so I might take some time to reply, but I would definitely attend to all the questions. Technical issues will be attended by our technical team, and I'll attend all the chemistry questions personally. Anything related to question discussions, anything related to the part I taught, if you want anything from the other chemistry parts, up to you. We'll reply. Might take some time though. So use this number, ask anything. Feel free to ask. And one more thing, few things. The third thing, we'll be having our next seminar. At the moment, we are planning to have our next seminar on Tuesday morning. If you have issues like having term tests, and now most of the term tests won't happen because of A levels, or else having school, if the time needs to be changed, I'll be sending a Google form, or I'll posting a poll. I'll be posting a poll on tomorrow morning or evening or night. I'm not sure about that because normally Saturday is a very busy day for us. But I'll make sure to send one. Make sure you give your opinion on that, because it's better to join the live session. So there might be a lot of things to remember, but the thing is you just need to pay attention to the group. Everything will be sent to the group. And there will be physics seminars held by another tutor. I'll inform you all the information on the group as well. So everything is on the group. Simply that's the advice. And the daily MCQs are really helpful. Thank you. Yeah, the next seminar will be electrochemistry. We'll be discussing electrochemistry, again a very important part for most of you. Believe me, electrochemistry is tricky for most of you because you study a lot of things. In A levels, we don't study a single thing. A very small logic will help you to remember everything. So we won't be studying after that seminar. Believe me, you won't be studying things. You will be just knowing the equations. Very easy. That's why A level is a little bit more interesting. And one more help before we finish. Everything else now, I have a lot of things to say, but I know all of you are tired. Even I myself is tired. I don't want to drag this down. I hope this session was very helpful. I tried to do my best. But again, if you want any feedbacks, if you want to let me know anything I could have fixed on my side, just send a text to this. And one help I want you to do is, after I end the live, after I end this live, not now, not the students on the YouTube live, not now. I'll end the live. Then you can see the video. Give your honest feedback if you want, if you like, as a help, as a support to us on the live chat. Even the Zoom students, you can send a text to that live and just let us know your feedback, because that's the only thing we get from you. එක පොඩ්ඩක් දාන්න Zoom එකේ දාන්න එපා, because ඒක නැති වෙනවනේ. The Zoom meeting is over, but the YouTube live, if until we remove it, we have it. So ඒගොල්ලෝ පොඩ්ඩක් දාන්න, then දාන්න එපා. Once the session is over, you can send it to us. And I think I missed around more than 100 messages from you. That's because it was impossible to do everything. ඒ ටික මේ number එකට දාලා තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් එච්චරයි. Thank you for joining again. I think we had a very productive session. We'll meet on Tuesday. If we change the time slots, we'll meet on that day. But I think if you got something, you will be joining that session and getting the things done as well. Yeah, then good luck for your studies as well. Anit subjects ටිකක් balance කරගන්න. If you want any help related to other things also අහන්න. I'll be there to help you. එහෙනම් එච්චරයි. group එක දිහා බලන් ඉන්න. Always pay attention to the WhatsApp channel. That's it. Then we'll meet on the next day. Thank you. Good night. Bye bye. See you. Tata.